I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Also, don't forget, download the Mark Cox Morning Show podcast.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts.
Every single day, reality calls, and the Biden administration just hangs up.
I don't care what corporate media outlets say. I don't care what Hollywood says. I don't care what big corporations say.
Mark Reardon.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't.
The Mark Reardon Show is on now.
Oh, it's on, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like today, though. It's kind of gloomy out there. I also feel very strongly that I'm going to blame Sue Thomas for this. The week is going by very, very slowly. Fred, do you agree with me on that or not?
It's crawling.
Yeah, it seems to be. It's that week before Christmas, right? So things are a little different. A lot of people have shifted into holiday mode. Raise your hand. I'm raising my hand. Fred is raising his hand. And, yeah, we're kind of bummed that Sue's not here, but she'll be here on Monday afternoon. We got a lot to get to here this afternoon. Including Scott Jennings. Did you see Mediaite put out a list, Fred? Let me see if I can pull this up. This is pretty good. Yeah, he's on fire right now. You know, he got appointed, I haven't talked to him about this, but he was appointed to the LA Times editorial board. Vanity Fair has got an entire piece about this right now. Vanity Fair wrote about Jennings and, explained this because the owner of the LA Times reached out to Scott over the summer because he had seen him on CNN. Now, Jennings has written columns for the LA Times for a while, but here, let's see. Mediaite, most influential. Let's see where he comes in here. Have you heard about that at all?
No.
Okay. So they put it out here. Most important. Let's do the countdown here. Let's see, number... they do the whole thing. Like, they count down from 75. I'm not going to get through all these. But he's number 23. He's like number 23 on the list. Of most influential people in the media right now. And I'm pretty sure he's ahead of a lot of different people. So we'll ask him about that here coming up in a couple of minutes. Also, Bob Onder is going to be with us. One of the things I want to talk to Scott about is the continuing resolution, the budget things. There's a lot of folks that are pushing back on Speaker Johnson for breaking his word on, the spending package. So we'll get that explained this afternoon, not only from Jennings, but from our newest member of Congress, at least one of them from the St. Louis area, Bob Onder. Congressman Onder will be with us in the 5 o'clock hour. John Seiler here tonight also. He really highlights a lot of the DEI stuff that goes on out there. John's great, and he's got something to highlight on the University of Kansas. So that'll be coming up. I should also mention as we get a little closer here to Friday, Fred's been feverishly putting together the show for Friday and for Monday and Tuesday because you're out next week, and I don't want to, as you know, let anything to chance because the holidays is hard to get people to come on the air. But we are loaded up. We got a roundtable on Friday. Jane will be here. Jeff Rainford, David Barklage on the panel. Tim Summer, one of our favorite music folks. In the 5 o'clock hour, George Gray on Monday to play The Price is Wrong, a little game that George came up with. Johnny Holzum from the Well Hungarians will be here Monday. Dan Buffa to talk some holiday movies in the Tuesday afternoon, 4 o'clock hour after Sue's News. And then I'm going to play Christmas music next Tuesday night from 5 until 6 o'clock. Oh, Fred, I've had a really interesting day. Let me share a couple of things with you. And there was a bit of a kerfuffle right before the show. I could walk the listeners through some behind-the-scenes radio stuff that goes on. But first and foremost, so this morning, I haven't told you this yet.
No.
I left my house right around 10:30 to run up to where's my favorite place, Fred? It's the High Ridge Walmart, right? So, and you've been to my house. So I live over where Krause Farms is. If you go to 141 and 44, there's a Drury Inn, there's a Sugar Fire right there. And then as you take Merrimack Station back, you'll hit a little road called Hillsborough Road. And Fred knows this very well because I call it Twisty Turny because oftentimes I'm talking to Fred. I drop my daughter off at school. I call you and I get to the point where I have to say, Fred, I'm going to lose you. And then all of a sudden I break up because I'm in the woods. But that road continues to go out to essentially where Gravois is, 30, so you can take it. That's where I go to the Walmart. So this is right by Paradise Valley Golf Course. So I turn left out of my subdivision. If I would go to the right, I'd be going toward, 44, if you will. I get up to the top of the hill. There's this I've actually, because I used to be one of these annoying people wearing spandex and riding bikes, I've gone up that hill, which is a 12, degree grade hill, very, very steep. I've gone up that damn thing on my bike, which is not recommended. I get to the top of the hill, and there's a car coming right toward me, crossing the double yellow line.
Oh.
Not only is it a car, it is a St. Louis County police cruiser. It's an SUV. And I mean, he's coming right toward me. And this all happened very fast. I mean, you kind of have to react. I'm laying on the horn, and I'd say he missed me by about a foot. It was one of those, oh, but for the grace of God moments. I wonder if those things have cameras on the front of them, because if they do, someone might want to search who might have been in that vicinity at around 10:35 this morning to see if they captured that on any kind of dash cam where he almost took me out. And I mean, honestly, God, my heart was beat. I'm thinking, I can't believe that just happened. I mean, it was close. It really was close. So that was fun. Then I got home from Walmart. This was fun too. And I bought some, Fred, I love my Rouse pasta sauce. Okay. It's really good. It's also overpriced, even at Walmart, like $7 or something like that. But I like it a lot. So I buy that. And like an idiot, I tossed, instead of just gently placing down one of my bags on the counter, I tossed it on the counter. The damn thing broke glasses everywhere. Not only everywhere, but it's in my garbage disposal. So I'm trying to get it out without cutting my hand and, bleeding out. And the garbage disposal is not working at that point. Then there's this little Allen. Have you ever tried to mess with your garbage disposal?
No.
I have. So there's this little Allen wrench thing, and you have to. I have a handyman. His name is Phil. We call him Phil Handyman. We don't even know his last name. We do, but we act like we don't. Even Alexa calls him Phil Handyman. So I call Phil because he installed the damn thing. I said, what do I do? He says, that little Allen wrench thing, you kind of, put that in the hole in the middle of it. And this was pretty easy to do. Even someone like me could do it, which is encouraging for the rest of you because you could do it with no problem. But I shook that little thing with the Allen wrench, and then I put some ice down. He said, I put some ice down there. I pulled out all the glass shards individually. Like, there were big pieces of glass that were down my drain. And it's working again, Fred. I fixed something. I think I fixed something.
What time was this going on?
This was like whenever I got back from Walmart, 11 o'clock, 11:15 this morning.
I can't believe you didn't tell me this.
Well, I was waiting for on the air. I like to do that. All right, so then here's the other story. And I almost have to laugh about this at this point. And these things do happen, okay, over the course of one's career. But this one might be a little more frustrating than others. And I'll just kind of walk you through the story. And for anybody listening right now that might be involved in the story that I'm about to share, I'm not using names, okay? So nobody has to worry about names being used or anything like that. I have a feeling that people might be listening and worried about what I'm going to do right here. Up until, I did the promo during Annie's show at 2:45, right? And I said, coming up, I have this amazing audio from a journalism class at the University of Missouri, right? And I was all prepared to play it. What happened was I had a listener, and I want to thank him for reaching out. And he said, Mark, you got to hear this. This is an hour of recorded audio. I've listened to a good portion of it. I haven't gotten through all of it. An hour of recording audio from a professor at the J School. I won't name the professor even right now. Eventually, I think I will. And it was the day after the election. And he's gone nuts. Let me give you a couple of quotes here. Democracy is idiotic. And that's just in the first 5 minutes. Wow. He's going off on democracy and how at one point he says, he's like, hey, even it's just the most popular person who won. If The Rock was on the ticket, he would have won, not realizing the deficiencies of the other ticket, right? But there's a girl, so they're sharing their grief in this class. Okay, they're sharing they're terribly upset who won the presidency, right? How did she lose it? We thought she was going to win. We were told that she was going to win. So there's this girl, and this is what I was going to play. And I mean, I had to pull back on this here from the very beginning. And she tells a story where she is with her friend, and they both hate Trump. And her friend has a dog, and the dog, they're out in the woods or something like that, and the dog had all these bugs on it, right? And they were confused because they had flea and tick on the dog, so they're very worried about the dog. So they go to this clinic, and I don't know which clinic it was, but the clinic has Trump signs outside of it, right? And these girls are horrified. Oh, the vet is a Trump person, right? So they go inside, and they tell them what happened, and these girls are horrified because they're dealing with Nazis, Fred, right? And the clinic is super nice. They're like, they tell the girls, oh, those are like, there was a certain type of tick that they referred to. And the person at the vet clinic says, here, just take this spray. We don't even need to charge you for this. I mean, they bend over. I'm not making this up. They bend over backward to be nice to these girls. And they come out of it, and the takeaway is not that, wow, there's still kindness, even in the hearts of Nazis, right? The takeaway by these two girls is, this is how they cover for all their evilness, by being nice in this search. I'm not making this. I wish and I'm going to still try to play this audio. I suppose I could go rogue and just do it. I think there's concern. And what happened was that the person who gave me the audio said that I had permission from the people who recorded it, okay? So I went with that. I reached out to the student. He expressed a little concern. And I said, look, I'm not going to use any names or anything like that. And then I heard from his dad, and his dad's like, do not use the audio. I'm like, wait a second, dude. I was told I could use the audio. Why can't I use the audio? And I'm very frustrated by it because it's radio gold. And I don't think a lot of people would be surprised by this because it's really symbolic of things that we've seen on these college campuses. So, in a way, even if I would play it and you'd hear what the professor said, they'd probably defend it at the Mizzou Journalism School. They wouldn't think it's anything out of the ordinary because this is how they're indoctrinating these students.
That's probably something you should bring up also with John Seiler later today.
Well, that's a good point. We'll I don't know. This all kind of happened very fast, and I was very excited because I sent Ethan the audio, and we were going through the audio, and I'm listening to it thinking, man, this is unbelievable. And I'm ready to, about 15 before 3 o'clock, I'm ready to play this. And then I was told that I shouldn't play it, Fred. Unfortunately, damn it. It was like this big Christmas gift that dropped in the middle of my lap yesterday, and I was so excited about it because it is something. Here's what I would say. Worst case scenario, when the kid graduates, I play the audio. So I'll make a little note in my calendar because I think people need to hear it. And it's, if people would hear this, it wouldn't be a situation, and I wouldn't even react this way, where I was outraged by what the journalism professor is saying, because I know what they're saying. Look, I was there in 1983 when they were saying similar things when Ronald Reagan was president, but not this extreme. So to expose this is not to expose it in any kind of way to think that there would be repercussions for the professor or that the journalism school would even be embarrassed, because they wouldn't be. They're proud of this stuff, right? But I do think it would be helpful to families, to parents in particular, here in the St. Louis area, who have kids who might go to the journalism school at the University of Missouri or elsewhere, to know exactly what happens in these classrooms. Because what I would share and what I was hoping that I could share is very similar to things that other people and other students have recorded with these professors. It matches up completely. These are, I'm not using this hyperbolically. These are Marxist indoctrinators of these young people in America. That's what they do. This is what they're paid for, believe it or not. So I'm disappointed just because I wanted to expose it, and I think at some point maybe I will, but we have to pump the brakes on it for Freddie, or just a little bit.
I knew you were excited because you texted me like first thing.
And I didn't want to tell you about it either, because here, what I do is, it's the same thing with the story about the cop. There's spontaneity that, and I want to tell you and Sue a lot of these stories, but I even tell you guys when we're sitting here. We do it on the round table too. The crew is in here. I yell at them, Fred. You've seen me yell at them before.
Right.
Jane, and
save it.
Yeah, save it, because we want to make sure you forget to say things with the lack of spontaneity. So, oh, well, I was excited. We'll still see if we can, maybe salvage it for another time.
And you locked yourself out of your office.
That was another thing that happened. Well, it was so, I don't know what's the temperature in here today. It doesn't seem too bad, but I brought that little thermometer in, right? And it was like 68 degrees in my office. And it was because they had the windows open out here for some reason. So I closed the door. And then when I left to, go down to the studio to pull the audio that I can't play, that's when I locked myself out. But we got it back. All right, Jennings is coming up here in just a little bit. Great conversation with him. Likely our final conversation before the end of the year. We're wrapping things with a lot of people right now because I think I've indicated, I think it might have even said something about this earlier, we're going to go pretty light on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to do a lot of hard politics. But if something comes up in this news cycle, Fred, something might come up.
Right.
on Monday and Tuesday. We're certainly going to cover that. We'll talk about, as I indicated, the CR with Jennings. There we go. Ethan's got my thermometer in here. Continuing resolution, the controversy around that. We'll also visit with Bob Onder, who is one of our newly elected members of Congress in the 3rd District, taking over for Blaine Luetkemeyer, who decided to not run for re-election. He has committee assignments in judiciary, education, and workforce. He'll have some thoughts on the budget situation. Fred mentioned John Seiler, who exposes all this DEI stuff. That's coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Plus, an audio cut of the day. I had a good audio cut of the day, Fred. I can't use it now. Darn it. 321. Jennings is coming up.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
55 southbound, slow Bayless to Lindbergh, 270 southbound from Olive to Doherty Ferry, northbound side from Manchester to 64, 170 southbound Delmar to 64 on the brakes, eastbound on 64 from 170 to Big Bend, westbound from Kings Highway to Big Bend, and 67 to 270 from the Cordell and Cordell Domestic Litigation Firm Traffic Cam. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Sponsored by Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills. Hampton pays some of the highest prices for your diamonds, semi-precious colored gems, gold, coins, precious metals, collectibles, sports memorabilia, and more. Shop Jewels on Hampton for the perfect gift. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton Avenue in St. Louis Hills.
I want you to check out New Perspective Senior Living. N is in Nancy, P is in Paul, npseniorliving.com. Check it out, because if you need a beautiful new independent living, assisted living facility here in the St. Louis area, in Weldon Springs is where they're located, they can hook you up. And they're having folks over for some free lunches or some tours at this time. I was over there a couple of months ago, and they were still putting the finishing touches on this facility, and it really is special. And it's brand new, and you're going to feel the brand newness, if that's a description of it. The apartments are 1 and 2 bedroom, granite countertops, big walk-in closets, of course, in apartment washers and dryers. That's a big thing as well. They got great meal plans, and they would love to have you over for a tour. It's a new company that's brand new here in the St. Louis area. Actually, not a new company, but they've been across the country, new here in Missouri. N is in Nancy, P is in Paul, New Perspective Senior Living, npseniorliving.com. Tell them that we sent you along.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
Mortgage rates have finally dropped. That's right. Golden Oak has 5.375% fixed rates available right now. Our average cash-out customer saves over $1,000 a month. Call today and take advantage of our 5.375 fixed rate. Call 314-567-GOLD. That's 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak.
5.934 APR. FHA 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
The TR Hughes Homes for the Holidays display and inventory sale is going on now through the rest of the year. Hi, I'm Jason Hughes with TR Hughes Homes, and we have several quick move homes ready for immediate move-in. Save up to $50,000 on a brand new move-in ready home in one of our 4 beautiful communities. Come see why TR Hughes is St. Charles and now Warren County's premier home builder. Move-in ready, up to $50,000 in savings, just in time for the holidays. Visit trhughes.com for details. That's trhughes.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Hey, it's Brady Cook, quarterback at Mizzou. I'm all for Macadoodle's Garden Prairie. We've got a world-class selection of fine wine, beer, and spirits. We've got a drive-thru, and we've got the friendliest customer service in town. Make sure you stop into Macadoodle's before every big game to stock up on bourbon, beer, and seltzer. While you're there, pick up a bottle or two from Macadoodle's world-class wine cellar. Macadoodle's is Missouri. Macadoodle's is fun. Come visit us on Bryan Road, just north of the Page Extension, St. Charles County.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
And at 3:25, this portion of the show is sponsored by our friends at Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
Hey, it's Trisha here, wishing you a happy holiday season.
thank you to the entire 97.1 family for another wonderful year. I'm grateful for all of you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
I'm trying to slide in a bunch of Christmas songs. I got some good ones too, and I can play some of them that I can't play when Sue's here. Like yesterday, I played Backdoor Santa. That's not necessarily one of her favorites. I've been told that. So we won't play that when Sue's here, but we do got some good ones, including I Love the Waitresses Here. It's a good song, right? From the early 80s. We have the one, the only Scott Jennings back with us this afternoon. You watch him be heroic on CNN. Jennings, how are you this afternoon?
I'm terrific. Merry Christmas to you. We can say Merry Christmas again. Donald Trump won. It's okay. It's okay, friends. Merry Christmas.
I do like saying Merry Christmas. I got to tell you, before we get into some of this stuff, I had somebody share, and this is awesome, Jennings, some audio from a professor from the day after the election at my alma mater, the University of Missouri Journalism School. And it is radio gold. I'm digging through this audio. But my favorite part, there was a young girl in the class who was so upset, Jennings, because she was with her friend, and her friend had a dog. You own dogs. I have dogs, right? We love our dogs. Mm-hmm. And this dog was covered in ticks or something like that, and they were very worried about it. They had flea and tick on it, and they were concerned. So they rush it into this vet clinic, I guess in more of a rural area in mid-Missouri, and there's Trump signs up at the vet clinic, right? So this girl says that they go in there, they're panicked, they see the signs, they're sick to their stomach. They go in, the vet says, oh, this isn't a big deal. Here's some spray. You don't even have to pay for the visit. And they leave. And she complains about that because the Trump people, I guess, are Nazis, so they do something kind for her, kind and generous. And she says, I wonder if they just do that to hide the fact that they're Nazis. Something along those lines. Right. That's the world we exist in right now.
Yeah, that's a broken brain world of people who literally don't know whether to poop or go blind over politics. I mean, it's crazy, man. Like hard to explain. We can only hope for some healing over the next 4 years.
All right. Well, so talking about things that are hard to explain, let me see if I could pull this up because I'm doing it from the computer. But here, you shared this with me.
What media are you talking about that's anti-Trump?
You're not familiar with the anti-Trump media?
You're not familiar with the fact that you guys control everything
of all the things I've heard you say out here, that might be the nuttiest.
Scott,
I mean, believe me, there's plenty of anti-Trump media.
So that's real? She meant that there's no anti-Trump media?
Yes, basically her argument was that because the Wall Street Journal and Joe Rogan exist, conservatives control all media. That was basically her. And she seemed to be wholly unaware, despite the fact that we were sitting at that table we were sitting at, that there is anti-Trump media
all around.
And so, I mean, honestly, like it's literally 99% of all distributed information in the political information distribution complex. She was totally unaware. And I think she meant every word of it. God bless her.
Who was that?
Her name is Julie Rodzinski. She's a frequent panelist, and and she's been on TV for a lot of years. She's not a CNN contributor, but she comes on the panels a lot, and we obviously frequently disagree. So I like her, and we get along off camera. But Lord have mercy, on camera, I've heard some wild things out there.
One of the other things that happened recently is I played the clip with Bakari Sellers, and he kind of touched you on the arm. Were you serious when you said "Don't touch me," or were you just kind of kidding around?
Well, I mean, look, he was simultaneously calling. My point was, you can lie about me, you can insult me, or you can touch me, but you can't do both.
Fair enough.
You got to pick. And I was kidding a little bit, but I don't need you to put your arm around me while you're trying to tell millions of people that I'm a huge liar. Because A, I'm not a liar. And B, I didn't invite you into my personal space. So,
I get that.
I wanted to lay down a marker.
Well, and that's a good marker. Now, look, you know what you tell them next time? Look, Bakari Sellers or Julie Rodzinski, I am the 23rd most influential media member in the country. So I see this media list. You beat Rachel Maddow, barely, but you did beat Rachel Maddow, Jennings. Congratulations.
And thank God. Did I beat The View? I think I beat The View as well. And so
you did. Oh my goodness! Look at that. Joy Whoopi, Elisa Farr Griffin, Sarah Haynes, Annie Navarro. They grouped them all together. Sonny Hostin's number 24. Jennings at number 23. Let's see. Nate Silver squeaked out number 22 though. But you got room for improvement there.
I know. I can only go up from here. The things that you know that are number 23 are Michael Jordan and Scott Jennings.
Look
So
at
don't
that.
forget it. Don't forget it, Mark Reardon.
I will not forget it. Hey, what did you make of all the defamation stuff here with George Stephanopoulos? The rest of the media is kind of going nuts about that. I'm guessing you might have talked about that on the CNN set.
Yeah, my guess is they settled because they didn't want to go to discovery and learn, all the things you can learn in discovery in the middle of a lawsuit. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people going crazy about it. But what I said on the air was, you can avoid all these problems if you were just a little more accurate and or precise with your language. And I think when it comes to Trump or Trump's people, take Pete Hegseth, for example, there's always just a lot of imprecision. Pete Hegseth, for instance, had a thing with a girl. They went to the police. No charges were filed. I've heard people describe him as a sex criminal or a rapist or whatever. And so you can just see when it comes to Republicans, people play fast and loose with the actual precise truth. And I think a lot of Republicans are cheering on Donald Trump here, saying, finally, somebody's willing to push back on people who go on television and operate in media who just try to create narratives with language that just isn't true. So good for him for standing up for his own name. If you won't stand up for your own name, who else will,
Absolutely. Can you explain what's going on with this CR right now, the continuing resolution, the budget issue? Mike Johnson taking some heat from a lot of folks that are on the far right of the spectrum. So what's your take on this? And is this defensible when it comes to Johnson, considering what happened with the election?
Well, so there's a couple of issues here. Is it defensible from a policy perspective? That's where a lot of conservatives have trouble, and it looks like a lot of Republicans are coming out against it. Is it defensible from a tactical perspective? And the argument would be, we're going to clear the decks for now. We're going to punt effectively until March, and then we're going to give Donald Trump a chance to start with a clean slate here and organize the government spending the way he wants to do it. That's the tactical argument, but what appears to me is that a lot of what is in the CR is not acceptable to a lot of conservatives and even some mainstream Republicans. Now you've got Elon Musk coming out against it as well and saying this shouldn't pass. So as we sit here this afternoon, it feels like this thing is in trouble. Now, remember, Johnson had to negotiate this with Democrats because they still control the Senate and will until January. So it's on shaky ground right now. I still have a lot of confidence in Mike Johnson. He's pulled some rabbits out of hats, but this thing looks like it's on shaky ground at the moment.
What are your thoughts on the drones? I've said this about John Kirby. He seems to be one of the guys over there that's not, too incompetent. But to come out and say that this is all essentially in people's imagination, and I get that there's some psychological aspects where people are going to say they saw things that they didn't, but isn't there something going on there?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's obvious that there's something, and I think where the government gets itself in trouble is when they come out and say, yeah, we don't have any evidence that anything's going on, when people are literally walking into their backyards and filming things. And I grant you, some of it may be planes and normal stuff, but not all of it. People are seeing something, and I just, I think this is true in most cases. Transparency is your best friend. If you just tell people what you know and be honest about what you know and what you don't know, they'll work with you on figuring out what's going on. But when you go out and try to sort of tell people, you're not seeing what you're actually seeing, this happens all the time with government. I think people then immediately ask, what are you hiding from me? Obviously I saw something, so what are you hiding? What are you not telling me? And that creates a whole, culture of mistrust. Plus, I mean, let's be honest, with the Biden White House, given all the lies they've told us all year long about everything going on in the country, would you believe anything they told you at this point? I mean, these are the people who told us that the videos of Joe Biden, wandering around were cheap fakes. Now we're supposed to believe them on drones?
Yeah,
I'm skeptical.
And did you see, what was it, PolitiFact? Did you see PolitiFact's Lie of the Year?
No, oh my gosh.
No,
please tell me.
It wasn't anything that you just said. It wasn't, the president's fine. The president's not going to, get out of the race. The president's not going to pardon. No, it was essentially a reference to we're eating the dogs and cats in Ohio that Trump said. That was their Lie of the Year. I think that you could probably, maybe you'd put that in the top 200 but there was some truth to it.
How about I will not pardon Hunter Biden, which was said by Joe Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre hundreds of times.
And over again.
How about, Joe Biden is fine. He's riding unicycles and juggling knives in the Oval Office. How about that? Even Times today had a thing on Biden, and they quoted someone as saying, it's hard to imagine how he ever thought he was going to try to serve another 4 years. I mean, that was literally the Democratic Party message, was that it was all a conspiracy theory, that he wasn't up to the job. I saw the Pod Save America guys yesterday. They were like, wow, it really doesn't seem like Joe Biden's in command of the government right now. I'm like, no kidding.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, pal. I mean, crazy stuff.
That's nuts. Scott Jennings back with us. All right, one final question. I haven't read the entire Vanity Fair article, but since we last spoke, you were appointed to the L.A. Times editorial board. You've written columns in the L.A. Times, not always about politics. You did a great column last spring about the baseball rules, maybe a couple years ago. I can't remember. Time is going by quickly. But this goes back to a conversation you had with the Times owner. How do you pronounce his name, Scott? Patrick Soon-Shiong?
Yes, that's it, right?
And he called you over the summer? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he got in touch with me, and he's owned the paper since 2018, and I had not met him or spoken to him, but I guess he'd read some of my columns and seen me on CNN and was impressed with what I've been doing, and I've been grateful to write for the LA Times. It's a great paper, and I'm honored to contribute from time to time. But we struck up a little friendship, and he told me about he was going to reorganize the paper a little bit, and he said he had a simple message, which was that the news page ought to just report the news, and the editorial page, the opinion page, ought to be balanced. And I thought, what a revolutionary thing. We get the news, and we get balanced opinion. And I thought, man, this guy's a visionary. So he asked me to join the editorial board, which hasn't started yet, and I'm waiting for some details, which I'll get in the new year. But anybody who's got a clear-eyed vision for the way we ought to distribute information like that, I'm for it. I think he's a visionary. I'm honored to be his friend and glad to help him out with his project.
So do you know any of the other members on the editorial board?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know much. I don't really have much beyond what's been reported. He asked me to do it. I know he's working on it, and of course, I don't speak for the paper, and I don't hold myself out to be a a holder of information here. But he's a serious guy. He's one of the wealthiest people. He owns part of the Lakers. And he's just really been a really amazing career. But when someone like that comes to you and says, I've got a serious idea for how we're going to restore trust and balance in our news media, I'm listening because I know he cares about it. He's serious about it. And I think we could use a little dose of it.
Well, I do, too. I think we need a big dose of it. Look, I am a fan of the LA Times. Unfortunately, I subscribe to everything because I meet the paywall. But I look, the bias is there in the New York Times, Washington Post, all of them. But I do like the LA Times quite a bit, so this will be interesting to see how it kind of moves forward. I don't know that a lot of the media has learned the lessons of this election. I don't know what's so hard, Scott, and you and I have talked about this before, to come to the middle of America, right, and talk to real people that are existing in a situation where economic times are extremely difficult, right, and talk to people, see what's on their minds, and go from there. But there's never an effort along those lines here in the Midwest, at least.
Well, and just, look who ultimately works in and gets hired in most newsrooms. I mean, it's overwhelmingly of one political persuasion. And that's okay. I don't begrudge anybody their personal opinions. But when you have an entire industry that's dominated by one bubble, you're going to get a product that only serves people who are in that bubble. And as you just pointed out, there's millions of Americans out there who don't live in that bubble. They have a different point of view. They have different politics, different values. They need a media too. And, that I think that's what he's trying to go for here is the LA Times is a national paper, and it should be for everybody. You should be able to pick up the paper, know that the articles you're reading are not biased, and know that the opinion page is balanced, and you can see opinions from across the spectrum that are and arguments that are being made in good faith. To me, if that he accomplishes, it's going to be a miraculous thing, and he'll be really proud of the project when he's done with it.
You look, it's so important. And let me give you one just quick example from St. Louis here where local journalism is important. And I rip on the St. Louis Post-Dispatch all the time. I love the sports department. I know those guys for the most part. But there was some really good reporting. We have this unbelievable situation, Jennings, where somebody comes into the St. Louis Public Schools as superintendent a year and a half ago and takes a $17 million surplus. This should be a national story, into a $35 million deficit. And there's credit card spending in the $1.2 million range. And we're talking massage envy, all kinds of stuff that you just wouldn't believe. But the Post has reported this in very, big detail. Now, if we didn't have that, I'm not sure that story would be exposed. So I think journalism, local journalism, It's important, right? We need it, but the difference between good reporting and biased reporting and bad reporting, there seems to be a wide gap there right now.
Yeah, I love newspapers. I'm still one of the few people probably that reads printed newspapers. I think they play a vital role in our culture and how we exchange information and how we learn about things going on in our country and in our communities. And so I just want them to be the best versions of themselves. I want as many people as possible to trust them and to say, what I'm getting here is a non-biased, factual account. And by the way, I'm picking up some smart opinions on the editorial page from different people that I respect, even people that I don't agree with. I'm still going to read it because I respect them. They're making a good faith argument. So if you're getting solid local reporting, good national perspective, interesting opinions, and that sounds like something I'd buy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's why this LA Times experiment is interesting. I mean, you saw how people reacted when like the New York Times I guess it was the Washington Post, the LA Times, USA, they said they weren't going to endorse Kamala Harris. Right. People lost their minds.
They did.
Because the left believes they own this media. They own it. And honestly, that's healthy because media should not just be for one political persuasion. It should be for us all. And that's kind of the hallmark of what I'm doing at CNN. And kudos to them. They're putting multiple voices on the air. We're having a real debate. Why can't we model that behavior across multiple media outlets? I think it's a good thing.
Please tell me you got time off next week for Christmas and the family.
I'm taking off the first three days of the week, and then I'm going right back into the salt mines, brother. I can't get enough.
All right. Well, your downtime. You need some downtime, and I'm concerned about you as a friend. But listen, have a great Christmas, and we will talk soon.
Merry Christmas. Thank you, Mark Reardon. We'll talk to you on the other side of the.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
55 southbound slow Broadway to Bayless and then down to Lindbergh. From there, it's 270 southbound where you're slow from Olive to Tesson Ferry. Your northbound side from Manchester to 64. 70 westbound slow from Riverview to Lucas Hunt. 170 southbound hits the brakes around Olive down to 64. 64 eastbound from 170 to Big Bend, slowdowns. And westbound from Kings Highway to Big Bend and 67 to 270. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Thank you, Trent. Yeah, Sue's off. She'll be back on Monday afternoon. Let's get you some good legal advice and help here in St. Louis if you think you have to go through the end of a marriage. This is a tough time. The holidays, a lot of people, what they do, and Susan L. Ward will tell you this, they try to get through the holidays, right? And then you call the lawyer. And Susan, she might be on here before the holidays, so you might have to get her on to talk about this. She'll say that her phone line is going to ring off the hook, though, on the 2nd and 3rd of January because people have waited, and then, you make decisions and you move forward. Her advice always would be to reach out as soon as you possibly can. Susan and her team have been doing this for 2+ decades. They have multiple locations, a ton of experience. The experience really does matter because they have a good sense of the different judges, and being in front of the right judge, depending on your circumstances, may be more important than you think. And Susan can be trusted on that. They have focused exclusively on this area of the law, family law, for more than 2 decades, as I indicated, and they want to help you. So if you need that help, and it's always a tough thing to go through, and I know that because I was through it firsthand, please reach out, and reach out right away when you can. And they make it real easy. Go online, stlfamilylaw.com. STLfamilylaw.com. There's a confidential consultation form. You can send it right in, and Susan or the team will get right back to you. The focus on family law, the emphasis on you, Susan L. Ward.
Count on Steel for Christmas cleanup made easy with the SEA 20 battery-powered handheld vacuum. Now just $99.99. Visit your local Steel dealer today or shop online at steelusa.com. Valid offer for a limited time, only at participating dealers while supplies last.
One of the things with running is I want to enjoy the run, but I never made it very far because the arches in my feet just killed me. So when I got to the end of my rope and I said I have to do something to get rid of the pain, and a couple people recommended the Good Feet store to me. I loved how I could go in and get a free personalized arch support fitting. They put that time, that work, that effort into helping you find the right arch supports. And you can walk around the store with these in your shoes and try them out before you purchase them. So after I got my arch supports, the arches on my feet stopped hurting and the pain instantly, literally instantly went away. So if you have pain, go. Find a Good Feet store and go. There is an answer. Find the simple solution that will get rid of your pain. I'm Rondi, and that's my Good Feet story.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
Wow, this year has flown by, and now you're planning to sell your home. You know, like you, most families have been waiting on the sidelines. Well, now the timing is better, but you still have questions, right? Hey, Mark Cox here from my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've been telling you about Gloria Liu for years now. Why? Because Gloria Liu is St. Louis real estate expert, and if you have a home to sell, you need to get to know her like I have. I've seen her systems, her guarantees. I've even met her clients. In fact, I'm also a client. She's different than any other realtor, and if you need help selling your home for the most money, you need to do what I did. Call Gloria Liu. Here's another tip. If you have a home to sell in Crestwood, Shaw, Maplewood, the Central West End, you must give Gloria Liu a call. Take it from me and call my friend Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
We're winding down the year. We're in the holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. With the end of the season coming, also means next year there's mandates. Again, government mandates. You don't need to go with a ridiculously high-end, so-called, I'm doing this air quotes, efficiency. The minute you hear the term efficiency, call me. I'll help you out. Common sense approach with common sense explanation on what works best for your house and your budget. So call me. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Remember, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The only number, 314-293-2600. That's 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Thursday, we've all used vending machines. How about to buy ammunition? We'll talk to the guy that came up with the idea at 7:35.
Weekdays from 5 to 9
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
We will have Ethan's news in the next hour, filling in for Sue. I have a pretty interesting story right before that about some parents and some regular folks who are trying to get information from some school boards who are being charged millions of dollars to get the copy of the records. We'll get into that also in the next hour. I can't really remember what's coming up at 4:25. Oh, that's right. Our friend Alex Rich is here for 198, so we'll visit with him and have a little fun in the 4 o'clock hour. A couple things that I wanted to get to. You know how if you're on, for those of you who are on the X, formerly Twitter, there's a couple of different ways that you can, scroll through your feed, if you will. And one of them, and this gets tricky, and it's thrown me off, but if you go to the top of the X page, I'm doing this on my phone right now, you'll see For You, and then you'll see Following. And if you have it on Following, sometimes it defaults to the other. You're basically only seeing things from people who you follow. But Twitter likes to expose you to some other things, including people you don't like very much. And I don't know how the algorithm works, but I do know that occasionally I'll look at things on my iPad in the morning when I'm getting ready for the show, and I'll see that it's on For You. So I'm getting things in my feed that I don't necessarily want. And that happened this morning with a guy who writes for Vox, which is a left-wing media outlet. Sometimes, why do I even have to narrow it down? We know that most of them are, as we just indicated with Scott Jennings. So this is crazy. But, I think, and I can read you a little part of the story because it's one of those things where the story has a paywall and it says this story is for Vox members. And, at first you can read the first few paragraphs and then it fades off so you can't see the rest of it. But here's the headline. And the headline should be very telling in and of itself. It says, why conservatives condemn Luigi Mangione and celebrate Daniel Penny, a tale of two killings. Well, right off the bat, and first of all, I think there's some of you screaming at me right now saying, dude, that's clickbait. You should know that by now. And sure, it is clickbait, but I was dumb enough to click on it. And here's what Zach Beauchamp wrote. The American right has spent the past week performing an interesting tap dance, condemning the left for cheering on one alleged killer while turning another into a right-wing celebrity. I'll let you kind of noodle on that a little bit, but I'll read a little bit more of this. In the first case, healthcare CEO shooting suspect Luigi Mangione, the right is appalled by, and to this guy's credit, he even says the admittedly appalling celebrations in a certain corner of the left. It's really terrible that some people seem to admire him, President-elect Donald Trump said in a Monday press conference. The second killer, Mr. Beauchamp writes, Daniel Penny, who choked homeless man Jordan Neely on the New York subway, has become subject of much right-wing admiration. After his acquittal on manslaughter charges last week, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance invited him to attend the Army-Navy football game with Trump. The contrast was everywhere among both Republicans' electeds and right-leaning pundits, much as a mirror image discourse played out among the left's Mangione supporters. So this is where it kind of goes blank on me, and I can't see what it says. But I did respond to this, and I posted this on Twitter because I thought it was just completely idiotic. And the guy posted another paragraph, and he had a screen capture. So he says this. Now, look, I think those of you listening right now, you realize that one of those situations was a cold-blooded assassination, and the other was a former Marine on a subway car where a guy was threatening everyone on the subway car. Women. I don't know if there were kids on board, but there were a lot of people on that car. So this guy says, while reporting this piece, I watched the available footage of the two incidents in question, and it's clear that they are very different situations. You think? The killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was a cold-blooded killing. I would agree with him on that. Multiple shots to the back with no prior altercation, no hint that Thompson posed an immediate physical threat to anyone. This was straightforward, intentional, and premeditated. Neely's situation is different. Some passengers on the train, all of them said he was threatening to hurt someone. There was nobody that was not saying that, though he hadn't actually done so. Penny claims he restrained Neely to protect the other passengers. In reality, Mr. Beauchamp writes, it's highly questionable whether putting Neely into a chokehold for 6 straight minutes is a justifiable response to mere verbal aggression. Even Penny's defense team implicitly conceded death was not an appropriate punishment. Yeah, nobody, because Danny Penny wasn't trying to kill the guy, all right? Luigi Mangione was trying to kill that dude. I mean, he succeeded. He gave it his best effort, and he succeeded. In this particular case, Danny Penny, who's dragged into the police station 7 days after the incident and asked about this, makes it very clear he's not trying to hurt him. He's trying to protect the other people on the subway car. So this guy has a problem because he says conservatives aren't just arguing that Penny should be found not guilty. They're celebrating him as a hero. Why? I think that's because he is a hero. Maybe that's why, Mr. Beauchamp. In this, they're mirroring those on the left who see the extinction of a human life on the streets of New York as a political victory. No, I don't think that's the case at all. And he says, how can they condemn the left's choice to lionize an alleged killer on the one hand while doing the same with the one that they like? I don't think I need to read this anymore. I think that despite the paywall, it's pretty clear to everyone how much lunacy is involved in that column. I mean, if you can't sit back, that sounds like someone who lives in Manhattan that is completely out of touch with reality. And I honestly can't understand how anyone, and I've said this before in defense of our friends here who are on the roundtable on a regular basis, you know, Steve Butts, Jane, Jeff Rank. There's nobody that I know in my world, even amongst my liberal friends, who thinks that not only Danny Penny should have been found not guilty, but he should have not even been on trial. So the corner of the left that actually thinks along the lines of this guy from Vox is so minuscule, I think. And I think we learned that we should be reinforced or at least reassured that we're in the overwhelming majority on this. I mean, the amount of people that think the way that guy from Vox think, it's got to be just a couple of percentage points. Although a little frightening because there shouldn't even be that many. But wow, unbelievable. We got Alex Rich from Y98 swinging in on a Wednesday afternoon. Congressman Bob Onder, newly elected, after 5 o'clock.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
55 slow going Broadway to Bates, Bayless to Lindbergh. Your 270 southbound from Olive to Tesson Ferry, northbound side Manchester to 64. Westbound 70 slow going from River Review to about 170 southbound. You find the same between Olive and 64. 64 eastbound 170 to Big Bend, westbound side from Kings Highway to Big Bend, 67 to 27. In air conditioning, I'm
Don't think we could hear him there at the end. But that was Trent doing traffic in for Sue on this Wednesday afternoon.
But my lips are turning blue. Are they fast?
My darling, Jerry Kelly can install a new furnace tomorrow, no matter what day tomorrow is, even if we call late at night.
You are my hero.
They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. JerryKelly.com.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Hey, St. Louis, are you in search of top-notch cybersecurity solutions? Look no further. ThrottleNet is here to help. Ransomware attacks are on the rise, putting businesses like yours at risk. Don't let cyber criminals jeopardize your hard-earned success. ThrottleNet provides comprehensive cybersecurity services tailored specifically to your unique needs. Our award-winning customer service provides 24/7 protection to keep your data safe and secure. Take charge of your digital security today. Protect your business, protect your future. ThrottleNet.com, your reliable partner in cybersecurity.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Tune in to the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at noon, or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
Supporting your nutrition should be easy. That's why we created the Neovitin Women's Multivitamin monthly subscription. Get your daily Neovitin Women's Multivitamin delivered directly to your door every month. You can pause or cancel your subscription at any time with no long-term obligations. With B vitamins to support energy, vitamin D for bone support, and our physician-formulated proprietary blend, Neovitin Women's Multivitamin is here to support your nutrition every day. Start supporting your nutrition and sign up for a monthly Neovitin Women's Multivitamin subscription today at neovitin.com.
'Tis the season for Hardee's handcrafted goodness. Made from scratch buttermilk biscuits pulled fresh from the oven. The return of special traditions like salty sweet candied bacon. And faithful friends like Hardee's cinnamon raisin biscuits gathered near to us and served all day, all season long. From icing drizzled biscuits to savory charbroiled burgers, unwrap the holiday goodness of Hardee's. Find the best deals on the Hardee's app. Items available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Hey, if you have long hair and a beard and you live in Utah, they're looking for models that look like Jesus. They're in high demand. We'll get to that after the top of the hour on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A scramble on Capitol Hill. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The fate of a short-term spending bill aimed at avoiding a government shutdown this week is in doubt, just a day after lawmakers received the more than 1,500-page package that some Republicans say is too big and too late. Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson tells Fox News,
"It's a monstrosity. This is what we see year after year. This is why I ran for Congress, to try to stop this practice.
And it's frustrating. Elon Musk, who's leading a Trump effort to cut government waste, says lawmakers who vote for the current bill should lose their office in 2 years.
A member of the House Republican leadership told Fox that Musk is not helping. The lawmaker added that Musk has bigger fish to fry than picking a fight with House Republicans. One source said the bill is now bleeding support from the GOP. When asked how many Democrats the GOP needs to pass the bill, a senior aide replied, quote, a lot.
Fox's Chad Pergram on the Hill. Republicans have just a slim House majority. The current proposal would fund the government into March. House Speaker Mike Johnson has argued that would clear the way for the Trump agenda to begin with the new Congress. Well, the president-elect is now calling for a streamlined spending bill that doesn't give Democrats everything they want. And he says Congress should have a debate about raising the debt ceiling, too, while President Biden is still in office. Meantime, the House Speaker's job could be in jeopardy. At least 2 House Republicans telling Fox News Digital the handling of the CR or continuing resolution will lead to a fight over the Speaker's gavel on January 3rd. The Fed now projects just 2 interest rate cuts next year after a quarter-point reduction today. Chair Jay Powell wanting to see more progress on inflation.
I think that the slower pace of cuts for next year really reflects both the higher inflation readings we've had this year and the expectation that inflation will be higher.
On Wall Street, high anxiety. The Dow plunging more than 1,100 points. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our temperatures will slide back into the 30s for evening plans. Some clouds around. It's cold overnight, 26. On Thursday, sunny, windy, chilly, 47 degrees. Thursday night, clear, cold, still windy Thursday night, 28. Friday, partly sunny and cold, and still windy on Friday, 34. We're going to feel that one with the gusty winds. 25 on Friday night, in the 30s and dry over the weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm Chad Robison with Your Money Now. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is approving California's plan to end the sale of gasoline-only vehicles by 2035. The decision in the final weeks of President Biden's administration sets up a potential fight over the future of California's vehicle regulations. President-elect Donald Trump has previously stated he would rescind approvals granted by the EPA to California to require more EVs and tighter vehicle emissions. On Wall Street, stocks were significantly lower, with the Dow dropping more than 1,000 points, having its first 10-day losing streak since 1974. The S&P 500 was off by nearly 180 points, and the Nasdaq lost 3.5%. Merck says it snagged the rights to an experimental weight loss pill from Chinese drug maker Hansoh Pharma in a deal worth up to $2 billion. Merck will pay Hansoh $112 million up front. That's Your Money Now.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit IzerVay.com. That's IZERV.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts.
Sue Thomas is off. Ethan has Sue's news coming up.
Greg Hammonds at GregHammonds.com wants to remind you that if you pay for your own health insurance, open enrollment ends January 15th. If you are looking for coverage, do not go online looking for quotes. You'll get endless calls from call centers, and they will not stop. Instead, call Greg, an expert with over 40 years experience, and he can provide sound advice for your health insurance needs. Their plans, if you qualify, let you pick your doctors, and it's 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. The monthly premiums are independent of your income, so there will be no surprise tax bills. If you pay for your own health insurance, own a small business, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to GregHammonds.com. That's GregHammonds.com. They will custom design a plan managed by you, not the government.
Oh, we're going to Greece in 2025, and we have a great group of 97.1 listeners who are going to join me and my friend Mike Kenny from Defined Destinations. Mike will tell you that there's only one cabin left. Now, he thinks he might be able to add. I don't know if he will be. So we have one more cabin to sell. You can go to defineddestinations.com. We leave on April 27th from St. Louis on Lufthansa. And, you know, if you've never taken one of these before, you do like an overnight flight. And, you get there. Well, we're going to go from Germany then to Athens, and we will be in Athens on that first day, and you just start touring. So you might not get a lot of sleep that first night. Day 2 is also in Athens, and then I think it's day 3 we finally get on the ship, and the ship is very small. It's 197 passengers. So after some tours through Athens in that area, we board the ship. I think that would be April 30th. On May 1st, we explore still some of the area around Athens. On May 2nd, we go to Syros. On May 3rd, Morgos. On May 4th, Rhodes, which is a medieval marvel. It's amazing. I'm looking forward to Santorini, which is the whitewashed wonder. On day 9, that's May 5th. Day 10 is Milos, the beaches and the history, another beautiful area. And then day 11 is May 7th. We disembark and fly home. It's going to be really, really special. I have pinned all the details at the top of my Twitter page, at Mark Reardon KFDK, or you can go right to defineddestinations.com. We might only have one more cabin left. Join us in Greece next year.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, and you believed they'd be kept safe. But now you've learned the nursing home has violated that trust. You've discovered bed sores, broken bones, and infections. Your loved one did not receive the care they deserved. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect or abuse, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE. Onder Law, making a difference one case at a time.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. For some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. We've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
This is a friend of mine. His name is Trapper Shep. He is a singer-songwriter from Milwaukee, and this is a John Prine cover. Christmas in Prison.
Christmas in prison and the food was real good. We had turkey and pistols carved out of wood.
Just a little unique for a Christmas song, but I reached out, Fred, as you know, I'm doing the Christmas special on Tuesday night where I'm going to play Christmas music. So I've reached out to a bunch of my singer-songwriter friends. By the way, Alex Rich from Y98 is here. How are you?
Happy to be here.
So I've reached out to people that I know, focused on them. And Trapper, you've met Trapper before.
Right.
He's been here in the studio with us. He's amazing. He's the guy that plays like a venue like Off-Broadway from time to time. Really, really interesting. He had the notoriety of taking some lyrics that were discovered from the 1960s and a Bob Dylan song, and he turned it into an actual song. And Bob, granted him permission for the lyrics and everything. So he's a really interesting guy. And he shared that one with me that is from some record that's out there that kind of focuses on some alternative music and unique Christmas songs. So I liked it quite a bit.
What I like so much about what you're doing for Christmas Eve in the 5 o'clock hour on that Tuesday coming up is that it's not just playing Christmas music. You've got a story for each one of these artists, and they're artists that you know and who have supplied you with music for Christmas Eve.
For the most part, there's going to be. I'm going to pick a couple like that I don't know, just national artists. But for the most part, and I've got to unfortunately make the cut. I've got to sift through some of these because they're not all going to make the cut. There's just too many. But yeah, I will share some stories.
This is a nice idea, Mark. There's no way you came up with it.
I did come up with it. But what's interesting is I was granted permission. One of these days, I'll bring the audio. Maybe I'll do this tomorrow or when Jane's here, because one of the songs is literally from a woman that I knew more than 20 years ago, like 24 years ago, and she just vanished. And she had this great album that was critically acclaimed, and then she did this one Christmas song. It's called Family Christmas, and I love it. It's a original. That's the other thing. A lot of the songs that I'm going to play are original Christmas songs, and they're good originals. It's hard to get a good original Christmas song, but we'll get to that next week. I got some good bumps coming up this hour. Ethan, you got Ethan's news coming up, correct?
That I do.
I wanted to share this story here. This is in the Free Press, which I think if you're looking for real journalism, Alex, this is a little off what we usually do with you, but I just thought it was quite stunning, so I wanted to share it here. Let me offer a real-life example of this, what I did. There's a park that's just to the south of us called Pelker Park, and it's still, a year later, actually now it's 14 months later, has a bunch of gates around it because they cleared out the homeless encampments from there last year, and then they put it around City Hall as well. So I'm the only one, I've said this before, I'm the only one that cares about Pelker Park and why those gates are still up there. But they forced me, the city of St. Louis forced me to do a Freedom of Information request just to find out what was going on at the park. And all they did was answer the question in ridiculous fashion, saying, we planted grass seed there. We just needed the seed to take place. So apparently it takes 14 months for grass seed to take place. But I bring that up because what's happening, and this is happening with school districts, that's what the Free Press is writing about, when a parent or even if it's a media organization, goes in and says, hey, these are public records. We have the right to see these. They're charging money for the copies. And in some cases, millions of dollars. So listen to this. Elizabeth Clare, the mother of a 7th grader in suburban Detroit, wanted to find out whether her local school district had mended its ways after it lost a lawsuit for improperly tracking disgruntled parents. Instead, she's the one who learned a lesson. Prying information out of local governments can be very expensive, and state transparency laws don't always help. So there was a $200,000 settlement from the Rochester Community School District in 2022. This was another mom who had accused the district of keeping a dossier on the parents that were critical of all the lockdowns during COVID, right? So this other parent wanted to know, well, let's see what they're doing in the aftermath of that, see if there's future retaliation. So she files the FOIA, which is the Freedom of Information Act, for 6 months worth of emails containing the word anti-retaliation. A few weeks later, she hears back from the district and the FOIA coordinator. Her request had been granted. They said, yeah, we're going to give that to you. All she had to do was pay, are you ready for this? $33,103,232.56.
That's it?
That's all. The district explained that it would take an employee 717 hours at a rate of over $46 per hour to review the 21,514,288 emails related to her request. So, that's just ridiculous, right? But this has happened elsewhere. There's another mom, Jessica Opfer, that was told the same thing in Rochester schools. It would take $25 million to fulfill her request for records. They've even tried to negotiate down the price. Now, Jane, I want to bring this up to Jane on Friday because she's told me about this as well, where I think it was Jane or other people have said, yeah, we've tried to go in and do this. And Fred, even think of it from a media perspective, because KMOX or the Post or whoever might go to try to get these public records, they try to hit them up with a big bill. Because, I guess because they can, right? Now, I don't know. This is a good question. It'd be interesting to see if the laws relating to things along these lines are different in Missouri versus Michigan, where it's not as incumbent or difficult to get these things. But I do find it interesting, and they chronicle many cases here in the Free Press from across the country where this is happening. And there's this group out there. It's the United States. It's USBA. It's a public education group. I'd have to find the exact name. So they don't want to do this because they claim that they're not legally a public association. Local boards of education, that group argued in court, do not exercise control over the USBA, meaning it's not a government entity. So they try to hide this stuff wherever they can as well. But it's interesting, and hopefully you can get down to the bottom of some of this because, let me put it in real terms here. This reporter, I think her name was Blythe Danner at the Post-Dispatch, and I've praised their work a couple of times on St. Louis Public Schools. That's how she got the information, all right? She did a Freedom of Information request.
How much did you have to pay to find out about the Pelker Park?
Well, I don't think they didn't hit me up for anything, but let's be honest, they didn't do anything.
It slows you down.
Yeah, but it did slow me down, but they didn't do anything. Like, I asked a simple question of the guy that runs, Greg Hayes, the guy that runs the Parks Department. I said, hey, can you tell me why these gates or whatever you want to call them are around Pelker Park? Couldn't answer that. That was too easy of a question. So he sends me to the FOIA stuff, and then they had to dig up the information. That took them, a minute to say, yeah, we planted grass. It's just ridiculous. They should not be treating people like that. Now, I get that there's reality of, workers that would have to answer requests and put things together. But the bottom line is the school districts in particular, they don't want to answer these requests. They want to hide things from parents, sadly, as much as they possibly can. Ethan, are you ready today?
Bring it on.
All right.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
How long do you have to fill in for Sue to be able to get your own version of the hotkey?
I don't believe it's ever going to happen, Ethan. You can keep trying, but we've done Sue's News for a while, and no, I don't think it's because, we're still honoring Sue in her absence.
Well, it was worth at least asking.
Yeah.
We love you, Sue. We miss you.
Can you file a FOI?
Yeah, you can file a request or something.
Mark will charge you
I'm going to send that to
$33
Ryan Wiggins immediately.
Now,
Ryan,
typically
if you're
with me,
listening.
it's an HR complaint, so just file one of those. Join the club.
Okay, so people were recently asked what it means when someone says they don't want a gift, and this one just cracks me up because it just reminds me how petty people are. 44% of people say the person truly doesn't want a gift but won't be upset if you give them one. Another 19% say they may secretly want a gift but won't be upset if you don't give them one. This is where it gets funny. 9% say the person doesn't want a gift and will be upset if you get them something, and 8% say the person secretly does want a gift and will be upset if you don't get them one. So
I'm surprised at the last percentage, I think, the most.
Let me make something very clear in case there's any confusion in the audience or in the room. I not only want a gift, I want a gift that's valued at least $100. I mean, especially in Bidenomics, you're going to have to go a little bit higher than $100. So I'm going to just be honest about that.
Certainly.
What's wrong with that?
Certainly everybody likes a gift.
I just don't understand why lie about it. That's what I don't get.
Yeah, be honest. I want a gift.
Yeah, just be straight up if you want a gift.
It's like being passive aggressive sort of thing.
Oh, you're trying to be a good person.
Fred, this is what you do though. You would say that. I don't really, and you'd probably mean it because you're very humble that way.
That's what we did for our wedding reception. We had no gifts.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That was dumb.
Well, we got married later in life. We had everything we needed.
That's dumb, though, Fred. You cheated yourself out of thousands
maybe like
of dollars.
I can confirm that he did indeed do that.
Maybe like a child's first birthday, no gifts, but at the wedding, you can give me all the gifts you want.
How much later in life were you? Like, when
I was
did you get married?
35 when I got married.
Well, that's not. I mean, come on.
I'm going to be 34.
Like you're my age now and having kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to be 34. Give me all the gifts you can.
Alex, I'm not getting you
I'm
one.
charging you
just
double.
because I was just given permission here. I've told you my deal on weddings, right? You know the deal.
Yeah.
You don't invite me, I'm going to give you a bigger gift just
You're
because
not
I don't
on
have
the
to
list.
sit through all the crap. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sticking with the Christmas theme, another poll recently asked people, how good or bad are you at wrapping gifts? And about 2/3 of America said that they are good or very good at it. There, yeah, that's accurate. 1 in 5 people said they are somewhat bad, and 1 in 10 people said they're very bad at it. Now, if I were to ask you, gentlemen, what demographic of people in America are the worst at wrapping gifts, what would you guess?
Well, I mean, you're kind of walking me into an answer of the younger people, 18 to 34 or something like that. Is that not accurate?
Alex, Fred?
We're saying what demographic, like age-wise? Or
Age, gender,
Oh,
location.
Men.
Okay.
Young men.
I would say
All
whichever
men.
is not inherently good at wrapping gifts is where I fall.
Fred?
So Probably
what
that
kind of
18-year-old.
answer was
Yeah,
that?
I don't
Give
even
an
know what that
answer.
is.
Take a stand here.
18-year-olds.
Okay.
I'll say middle-aged men.
The people most likely to admit that they're terrible at wrapping presents are men, especially older men living specifically in the Midwest.
Well,
Mark
I'm going to have
Reardon.
to confirm that. You know, it's interesting. I don't know if you remember this, Fred, but we did this little experiment. Dave Klein, producer emeritus, and I tried to wrap gifts. I think we did it live on the air, and they were both awful. But having said that, I mean, I'd be in the category, just being honest here, of Hall of Fame level terrible wrapping. Klein was worse. I can't even believe that that's possible, but he was
You're
worse.
right. It looked
Remember?
like a child
It
did.
did.
It did.
Congratulations, Dave.
I try to use a gift bag as much as possible.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Here's what I do. My wife's Auntie Kit. Auntie Kit comes over and she goes to one of the guest rooms, and I bring her some scissors and some tape, and she is nice enough to do it for me.
The bows are always the hard part. That's always, I mean, I can wrap a simple gift, but then when you show up and everybody's got other gifts that have like these amazing bows on them, that's out of my.
I know.
I'd have to say in this room right now, Fred's probably no doubt the best.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah, I don't think it would even be close.
I'm definitely not putting my faith in Mark. That's for sure. So I did a little bit of research on how much parents are expecting to be paying for their kids' Christmas gifts this year. And I have to imagine these last couple of years, that number's probably gone up significantly because of the state of the economy. And I found that parents are expected to spend $461 per child on average this Christmas, and nearly half, 49% of parents, expect to go into debt to pay for Christmas this year. 9% of parents will be spending over $1,000 or more per child, and the states that spend the most money on their kids' Christmas gifts: New Jersey at $712, Texas at $659, and Pennsylvania and Massachusetts are at $648. The cheapest, the most modest, I should say, South Dakota, $247.
Wow.
So, I don't
That's
know.
the lowest.
Those seem
That's the
all like
lowest.
pretty high numbers, no? I mean, I've never bought, my children a gift. I don't have any.
It adds up. What I would say is, like, you hear those numbers, it sounds high. Like, to me, 1,000 sounds very high for a kid. But when you get a few things, and it adds up completely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd have to do the math here with my household. Of course, Santa is bringing a fair amount of the
Yeah, that
presents,
takes
so-
the percentage away from you, so
Exactly.
that definitely helps. My cap growing up, as I got into like middle school, high school, was $200. It's like, pick what you want, we'll get it for you, but you have $200 to spend. So that's how my parents kept it there. So we're moving on from Christmas for a
Could you
moment.
take the cash?
I did actually one year for, what was that for? To go to winter warm up and use it to get some Cardinals autographs when I was younger. I did actually do that.
There you go.
It's funny how later in life that shifts, because now I'm paying my parents. Then I don't get anything.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah. It just kind of.
They deserve it.
I guess so.
Taco Bell continues to extend their menu. They are adding chicken nuggets starting tomorrow, and they will be available nationwide for a limited time. They're going to be called crispy chicken nuggets, coated with a combination of breadcrumbs and crushed up tortilla chips, and that's what makes them, in quotations, Mexican. Bell sauce made with tomatoes, chilies, and garlic, jalapeno, honey mustard, and Hidden Valley Fire Ranch are some of the sauces that are going to be mixed in with it. Listen, I don't know how I feel about this, but I will say this. The last time that they extended, when they went to the nacho fries, I was a little bit hesitant. I love the nacho fries. They hit on those. I'm a little bit more hesitant on this, though, I think.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking through the process. Look, I have a 10-year-old, right? And she likes chicken nuggets. She likes Cane's, and even she likes McDonald's chicken nuggets, which is interesting. And she likes Taco Bell, but she doesn't ever ask for chicken nuggets at Taco Bell, and I don't think that she really will. This seems to be something for the one person in the car. Everyone wants Taco Bell, but it's still the kid that wants chicken nuggets, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems odd.
I feel like a lot of people do chicken. And there's a big
Yes.
a big chicken market where there's a lot of competition in the chicken
Oh,
world.
it's still going to do well. There's no doubt about that. Okay, we're going to do some rapid fire birthdays here because there was a lot of celebrity birthdays today. Billie Eilish turns 23, Christina Aguilera is 44, Katie Holmes 46, Sia is 49. That one surprised me. I didn't realize that she was that old.
Wait, how old is Christine Aguilera, like George W. Bush?
44. She's 44.
Actually, Dana Carvey said it that way for George W. Bush. 44, that seems young still.
It
for her.
does seem young.
Yeah.
I would have thought she was at least 50 now.
Stone Cold Steve Austin turns 60. Brad Pitt is 61.
Oh, wow.
Steven Spielberg is 78. That is some of our big birthdays today. And now on this day in history, I have a little bit of sound for this one. 63 years ago in 1961, this classic by the Tokens hit number 1. It's The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Did you know this song? You knew it, though, because it's been part of pop culture, right?
Oh,
As
yeah.
a younger person,
In
Alex?
fact,
Oh, yeah.
last night, I was watching the Friends episode where the monkey can't stop playing this song, and it was cracking me up. Great
Oh,
scene.
yeah. Well, I do like the version of it that's in The Lion King. And by the way, on The Lion King front, I'm hearing really good things about Mufasa right now, which is interesting. And that's awesome. There
That's
you go.
a good one. 58 years ago in 1966, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas aired for the first time on CBS. 27 years ago in 1997, Chris Farley was found dead in his Chicago apartment. Died, of course, from an overdose on cocaine, and he was only 33. Very sad. Very, very
Devastating.
sad. Yeah.
He was so funny. You know, when I was in Milwaukee, he went to Marquette. He was a Milwaukee guy, so there was a lot of love up there for Chris Farley. But, you know, not unlike Belushi, far too soon.
And we conclude Ethan's news today with our random fact of the day. A little bit of a long one, so stick with me. Electric Christmas lights were invented by Thomas Edison and his business associate, Edward Johnson. Edison created the first strand of electric lights and hung them outside his laboratory in New Jersey during the holidays of 1880. 2 years later, Edward hand-wired 80 red, white, and blue light bulbs and strung them together around a tree in front of a window to the street, powered by a generator. It wasn't until 1903 that General Electric began to offer pre-assembled kits of Christmas lights for customers, and that is Ethan's news.
That
for
is
the day.
an awesome random fact. I find that fascinating.
Very interesting.
One observation on the Christmas lights front, and I love Christmas lights, and our neighborhood in particular looks really, really good right now. I'm very proud of that. But I saw when I was driving 44, and I'm almost at where my exit is, you know, down by that Wally's, and I wanted to get video of this, although it wasn't safe. But there was a car, I've seen a few of these. There was a car that had like Christmas lights on the top of the car, and I've seen a couple cars decked out
The
more
dedication.
than. Yeah, I
There's
like
a couple
it,
in
though.
St. Charles that I've seen a couple of times as well.
I like the
gotta
Christmas.
respect
How do you
the
do it?
grind.
Well, that's a good question, Fred. I wasn't close enough to understand because I don't know if they had them plugged in somehow or if they're just, you know, battery operated. But the guy last night had them all over. It wasn't just on the, you know, the top of the car. It seemed to be surrounding the car.
Yeah.
There's probably laws against this too, if you think about it.
Most likely.
All right, that's Ethan's news. I do have a little breaking news on the Ethan's news front. I don't know if you know this yet. You're off the hook for a random fact on Friday. You know why?
I don't know why.
Alexa Reardon has claimed that mantle
my
for
goodness.
Friday. She's coming in the studio, so she's going to do that one. She's got a Christmas song she wants to play, too. I'm being serious. So 4:05 on Friday afternoon, right after the roundtable.
Oh, Mother Nature's got nothing on. Come to me, run to me, come to me now. Rolling my sweetheart, flowing by.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
55 southbound, slow Broadway to Bates, Bayless to Lindbergh, 270 southbound, slow from Mile of Detessen Ferry, northbound from Manchester to 64, Page to 70, 70 westbound, slow Riverview to Lucas Hunt, 170 to 67, eastbound side, slow St. Charles Rock Road through the airport, 170 southbound from Page to 64, northbound from 70 to Airport Road. This report is sponsored by GHR Contracting. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Not many window companies do egress windows. Those are the ones used in basements or floors with no emergency exit. GHRcontracting.com. We offer same-day install and financing 0% for 18 months, and there's no hassle with price negotiation. Get an upfront quote on the phone. GHRcontracting.com.
I want to talk about Neovitin vitamins. It would be not the worst idea in the world to get someone a subscription to Neovitin for Christmas. Multivitamins are important. We all try to eat right. Well, some of us do. I even do, even though I have donuts and cookies and stuff like that. But Neovitin and a great multivitamin like that picks up where nutrition leaves off. So getting everything that you need from a diet alone, even when you're trying really hard, that's tough, right? So I think RFK Jr. might want to do something about this. Food quality isn't what it used to be. So you're filling the nutritional gaps, and a good multivitamin can support brain health and function. It can help keep your eyes healthy. It can make sure you're filling gaps when it comes to vitamin C, vitamin D, iodine, magnesium, all of these things are important. And there's a difference, as we've discussed in society, between men and women. So you'd get different multivitamins. And from Neovitin, they have the women's, they have the original women's formula, women's 50 plus, the original men's formula, men's 50 plus, and the fish oil tablets. All are great local companies. Some of the money goes to cancer research. Neovitin.com to get started today. You can buy these multivitamins in stores, but if you subscribe online, you save some money. Neovitin.com. Get started today.
In Missouri, farming isn't just a profession, it's a purpose. You can feel it in our 27 million acres of farmland. You can see it in the nearly 41,000 Missourians who work in agriculture. You can hear it at our farmers markets. You can count it in the $93.7 billion it brings our state. And you can taste it at your family's dinner table. A lot of farmers in our state rely on Bayer's tools and inventions because Bayer has a purpose too, to help farmers thrive. Learn more at go.bayer.com/purpose. Paid for by Bayer.
The TR Hughes Homes for the Holidays display and inventory sale is going on now through the rest of the year. Move-in ready, up to $50,000 in savings just in time for the holidays. Visit trhughes.com for details. That's trhughes.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
97.1 on the Odyssey app on your phone. The easiest way to listen when you don't have a radio. For everything in the news.
Your home for conservative talk.
The Odyssey app. 97.1 FM Talk.
When we are born, we are swaddled and snuggled, whispered to, fussed over, tickled and cuddled. When we grow up, things get muddled, and here it is Christmas time.
I love the name of this band, Alex Rich's Driveway Thrift Dwellers.
Delicious.
Here it is Christmas time is the name of the song. I like this one. I like that.
You can help me to the dishes, 'cause here it is Christmas time.
Will this be on the
I don't know.
playlist?
We're still putting the playlist together.
This is an audition.
Maybe
Okay.
it is. I'm coming up with some different ones, and some folks are sharing music with me as well. You know, even some listeners have shared some music. You can always
Any
do that.
local artists?
Yes, absolutely. Emily Wallace and the Funky Brass Band. I played.
Oh, they're great.
Oh my God! When you hear Emily do Christmas, "Baby Please Come Home," it's amazing. Who else do I have locally? Neil Sosik didn't have a Christmas song from the Mighty Pines. I shamed him, and I said, "You got a year to fix that." There's a couple of people locally, but I'm trying to come up with that. But yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Good.
But more so people that I know from outside of the area that are
Johnny
still
Holsam.
touring. Well, Johnny, but he's coming in in the studio on Monday. So Paul Hall's going to be here on Friday. In fact, we're going to do something with Buffa on Tuesday as well. Dan Buffa, who's another contributor when it comes to entertainment, and we'll talk some movies. Fred, I watched a movie. It took me 3 nights to watch this. Paul talked about it on Friday, and I finished it last night. And I just want to say, it's just terrible. But I had to finish it because I had to know how it ended. He talked about it on Friday. It's called Carry On. It's on Netflix right now.
yeah.
It's with Jason Bateman. So essentially what happens is Taron Egerton plays this guy who is a TSA agent. And no offense to TSA agents who might be listening in the audience right now, but no TSA agents look like this guy. Like, he's buff, he's a stud, and there's no reason for him to be a TSA agent outside of the fact that he's a Hollywood actor that can play this role. So Jason Bateman plays a guy that essentially selects him as an agent and forces him, and there's technology that's used here. I don't want to give too much of it away for people who want to see it, to allow someone to come through his line at the airport to get some nefarious, things on the plane. I won't even tell you what it is. But it's one of those ridiculous action movies that you sit there and say, come on. And you roll your eyes. But again, I couldn't stop watching it because I wanted to know what the hook was at the end. And then when you finally get to the end and what happened.
Isn't that the
it's
worst?
Even more ridiculous. So
the worst is when you watch a movie too long and you really just you don't care anymore, but you still are just trying to figure out.
That's what this was. This is exactly what
3
this
days.
was. Well, because I started
How long?
it.
What's the runtime of this movie?
2 hours, but I started it on Sunday night. I watched 15 minutes. I was drifting. I'm like, okay. And then I think I picked it up on, I picked it up on Monday night after watching a little football because football sucked, and I only got through. And I had an hour left last night. I watched the rest of it.
It's
last
funny you
night.
talk about a 2-hour movie taking you 3 days. Have you had the chance to see Wicked by chance yet?
And here's what's interesting about that. I can compare and contrast because I've admitted that I'm relatively spoiled still because I'm on the outside looking in of some critics groups, and I was a longtime member of the Critics' Choice Awards. They just announced nominations. Paul Hall is a longtime member as well. And Paul and I we've done radio, we've done reviews on the radio now for 20 plus years. We used to hang out in Milwaukee. That's how I know him. So I'm very spoiled. I have access through a lot of the platforms that I'm afforded to see things that are in the theaters in the comfort of my home. Now, I wanted to see Wicked in the theater, and Alex, I'm going to tell you, I'll be honest with you, I think I cheated myself. I watched it 2 Fridays ago in my basement with my daughter and my wife who had seen it before, and then my wife's aunt who had not seen it, and I put my phone, you've been in my house, so I put my phone on the bar behind me because I didn't want to be distracted. So I was charging it on the bar behind me, and I thought I'm going to just try to watch this movie like I'm in a movie theater and not be distracted. That movie's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yep.
I sat my ass on the couch. I never even got up one time.
Really?
I was blown away. Now, admit, you know this, musicals aren't for everyone. There's a lot of men listening right now. There's women. My wife's notorious. She likes Wicked. But, Fred, I don't know if you remember this, but there have been times where I've taken Becky to things. And what was it? What was the Jennifer Holliday? Dreamgirls. Remember they redid Dreamgirls, didn't they?
Jennifer Hudson?
They did it with Jennifer Hudson, but it was Jennifer Holliday originally. So they redid it 10, 15 years ago, whenever it was. And we're sitting in the theater, and my wife goes, wait, this is a musical? And she's done that a couple of times. And now it's a standing joke. So, like, when Wicked started, I actually leaned over and said, wait, this is a musical? But not everyone likes musicals, and I get that. But I thought it was spectacular.
Wouldn't you say, though, for people that don't particularly like musicals, that this is...
Yes.
This is just such an entry level. It doesn't sound entry level at 2 hours and 40 minutes long, but it's so easy to like.
Well, I think so, but you know, you have to kind of get into the music, and musicals aren't for everyone. I mean, I'm just gonna say that. I think there's guys that I know that would never even press play one time on a musical. But to your point, what I've said about Wicked, I've said this in the past for years. I've said it's the musical for people who don't like musicals. Because if you take a shot at it, you know The Wizard of Oz. So there's a lot of things that are instantly relatable to anyone who's in the audience because you know The Wizard of Oz.
Right.
I loved it at the Fox. It was a great experience.
Every song is catchy.
Yeah.
Every single song on there is catchy.
You know what, though? I'm just going to be honest with you, and I think I may have told you. Damn you, Alex Rich. So I don't know that I want you to do this right now because then it'll get stuck in my head again. I cannot listen to popular without thinking about your version.
You know what? Mark did text me this. I do remember this. Yeah, I tend to leave it. I tend to leave it.
A little background. You told me, and maybe we were even talking about. Maybe we were talking about Wicked, me taking Alexa because I took her again a year ago. She's seen it twice, even though she's only 9.5 years old. And Alex, who's on Y98 every morning, you're standing over here in the studio like this, and you said, "Oh yeah, I know every word."
You know what it was?
Popular.
It was they had just announced the trailer had just dropped, I believe, for the movie, and it was about a year ago. And it's my little party trick, and I pulled it out here in the studio, saying every word to popular.
Sure? You don't want them to do it?
Not right now, because then it gets stuck in my head
on the way
again.
out.
Yeah, maybe on the way. But I was very impressed with that.
How did you feel like they acted out like during the songs? Not so much choreography, but like everything that was involved with like where they were and how it made sense with all the songs. Like to me, I like the songs because they sound catchy, the music's fun, right? But I kind of tend to ignore a lot of lyrics and their meaning and how they're telling a story at times. And for me, I think the movie brought that more to life. And well, you know me, Mark. I'm not very smart as
well, that's what I heard there. I heard what I heard there is I'm not smart enough to understand the lyrics, so I needed a movie to
I'm a visual learner, Mark.
I think I'm that way too. I think there are a lot of songs that I have no idea what they are, but I know all the words, and I never stop to think what I'm singing to myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and somebody says, "Oh wow, you know what that's about?" And I'm like, I had no idea.
Well, that does happen, even to me. Like there's a song. It's weird. I maybe I could pick one out. I don't think I can right now. But there's a song maybe you've listened to for decades, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a second, that says that. Okay,
you don't fully get the meaning of it,
right? But you know, to your point on the movie. Look, I just thought it was fantastic.
A+.
Everything about that visually. Yeah, A+. Yeah. I would give that movie, like if I was still doing a top 10 list, which like that's federal law required with critics, you have to do your top 10 movies of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I would now I haven't seen everything. All right, so I've seen September 5th, which is one of those that's getting a lot of buzz for the Oscar. I'm going to watch the Bob Dylan movie this weekend. That opens on Christmas Day. Our friend Norbert Leo Butz
That's right.
is in that. And, of course, here's something else about Wicked that I didn't know. So you know that Kristen Chenoweth and what's her name from Frozen, they're the original cast
Idina
members.
Menzel.
Idina Menzel. So they have a pretty significant role in Wicked. You see them and they get to be highlighted. So my feeling when I was watching that is, and I told Steve Butz, state rep, who is on the show on a regular basis, I say, hey, where the hell's your brother? Well, apparently he was, because Steve's brother Norbert was the original Fiyero in Wicked on Broadway. Mm-hmm. He is in with his wife, and I think maybe even his kids at the beginning.
His wife was the original Nessa as well on Broadway.
I think I'd forgotten about that.
And then they got married, yeah. And
how did I miss that?
Yeah, and while we're on that topic, I will say my review of Fiyero was that I told Steve this as well. Norbert's voice was just so much more powerful than
I thought that dude was pretty good, though.
He was pretty good, but this was the movie. This guy was hired for his looks more than he was hired for his
But you know what I
voice,
like about him? And Norbert had posted this on Instagram. He was walking around Manhattan with a T-shirt of Norbert.
Is that right?
Yeah, to pay homage to the original Fiyero, which I thought was pretty cool.
I love it.
Honestly, Alex, the only criticism I would have is what's her name's just too damn skinny.
Yeah, I was going to ask. There was a lot of concern with Ariana Grande.
She's too skinny.
She's, it's,
She doesn't look healthy.
She does not look like she had in the past.
But I would also say this, that she was made to play that role, right?
Oh, 100%. Well, I think Kristen Chenoweth was truly made to play that role, and Ariana Grande at a young age knew that at some point in life she wanted to replay that role.
I thought it was really good. So check it out if you haven't yet. Hang on, we're coming back with a little bit more.
We all want someone who hugs and kisses. All I want is you. All I want is you. All I want.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
And things are slow going if you're on 270 southbound from Olive to Tesson Ferry, northbound side from Manchester to 64, Page to 70, 70 westbound, slow going from Riverview to Lucas Hunt, 170 to 67, eastbound side from St. Charles Rock Road through the airport, 170 southbound, Page to 64, northbound slows from 70 to Airport Road, 64 eastbound, slow past 340, then 170 to Big Bend, westbound side from Kings Highway to Big Bend, 67 to 270 and through Chesterfield. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost hundreds of dollars? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com to get your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility in minutes. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I've gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get started right now with your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility for coverage in minutes at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
If you go to throttlenet.com, you can click on Why Us, which is a tab at the top, and then they have testimonials. And you should hear from real-life customers of ThrottleNet how great George Rosenthal and the team are here in helping you with your IT service and cybersecurity. Here's a CEO and president of a local company that says ThrottleNet makes IT completely hassle-free. Their proactive approach to network efficiency and security is integral to our achievement. Delivering leading-edge online storefronts for enterprise-level businesses is the heart of our print and marketing solutions. And he's just raving about it, talking about the Cloud Mail backup solution, which has mitigated any risk of data loss and ensuring his company will have always access to clients' digital assets and files. And they have that amazing under 2-minute response time, which leads the industry. Jim pointed out that that's been crucial in supporting his business infrastructure. So if you'd like to find out more about ThrottleNet, go online to throttlenet.com and get a free IT consultation. If you put a /97.1 at the end of that, you can even hear George and some of the segments he's had here on 97.1 FM Talk, or take a tour of the dark web. Check out ThrottleNet today at throttlenet.com.
Lifestyles Unlimited, the education and mentoring group with a roadmap and support to help you real estate retire.
Having the consulting team, having other avenues within your whole system is what's made y'all successful. Everyone is there to guide you to be successful. So it's just up to you to get off the butt and do it.
Do it. Take action today. Get educated now at Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
The American Cancer Society calls upon Black women from all walks of life to join Voices of Black Women, a groundbreaking research study led by the American Cancer Society. Voices of Black Women is designed to better understand why and how cancer and other health conditions impact Black women. Go to voices.cancer.org.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
We all know how important nutrition is to our health, and now is the time to do something about it. With Neovitamin Women's Multivitamin, you can give your body sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your daily health. Created by a St. Louis physician, Neovitamin Women's Multivitamin is formulated with our proprietary blend for daily support you won't find anywhere else. Best of all, you can get Neovitamin Women's Multivitamin delivered right to your door with our convenient monthly subscription. Go to neovitamin.com and sign up for a subscription today.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
If we think education in this country is not what it should be, if we think it's not being run well, then maybe we don't need to keep putting the same people in those positions.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
On St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Mark Reardon on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
It's a group called Elephonic with this song. Tom Petty does a pretty good version of that I use from time to time. Alex Rich from Y98 hanging out here on a Wednesday afternoon. You doing any traveling? You travel a lot. You going anywhere over the holiday?
You know, I thought about going to the, my Hoosiers are kicking off the college football playoff this Friday night, and I was going to go voyage over to South Bend and go to Notre Dame, but I don't have a ticket yet, and it's just doing that drive with no ticket and trying to get lucky and get one under like $400 when I'm there. Just, I don't know if it's the wise choice right now.
You're engaged to be married, so getting lucky would be the last thing that should be on your mind, but I understand your point. Look, that's going to be an exciting game, right?
It's going to be awesome. I mean, I think...
and by the way, hashtag things I didn't have on my bingo card this year. My Hoosiers are going to play in the college football playoff, right?
Isn't that something?
But I love it. I really do. I wish it was Mizzou. But I like that there's some teams that aren't typical powerhouses. And I would love, no offense to my Notre Dame friends in the audience, I'd love for the Hoosiers to win that game on Friday night.
I think we're a very likable team. I think, again, no offense to any of the Notre Dame fans, but I think Notre Dame is also a team that's easy for a lot of people to dislike. I think there's a lot of people that hate Notre Dame. Right. I don't know that there's many people other than Purdue fans maybe that don't like the Indiana Hoosiers.
By the way, on the topic of Purdue, I missed this. They were flashing up last night some of the coaching carousel things, and Barry Odom was appointed the new head coach of Purdue. Former Mizzou assistant went down to, where was he at?
For next year?
Yeah, he was down at South. Where did your kids go to school, Fred? Was it?
I had one went to Rolla and one went to SLU.
Well, okay, maybe I'm Springfield. What's Springfield? Anyway,
Missouri State?
Yeah, he was there, and then he went to Vegas, Nevada. So he was the head coach of UNLV, and I guess he got the Purdue gig, which is kind of interesting.
Wow.
Hey, how about this? This is from, we actually stole this from the Five a few minutes ago. We looked up on the screen, and they were talking about this. The San Francisco Department of Public Health has hired a consultant on weight stigma and weight neutrality. Despite the city being in the midst of a battle against rampant homelessness, open-air drug use, and violent crime, Virgie Tovar is her name, a self-described anti-weight-based discrimination expert. Who knew? Describes herself as a prominent advocate for, guys, fat positivity and body acceptance. Announcing her appointment on Instagram, she called it an absolute dream come true. The consultancy is an absolute dream come true, and it's my biggest hope and belief that weight neutrality will be the future of public health. Do you know what weight neutrality is by any chance? Does anyone know exactly what that is?
Mm-mm.
I don't either. I think it means that you just can be fat and be proud of it and not have to worry about anything else. She actually wrote a book called You Have the Right to Remain Fat. She positions herself as a leading voice against weight-based discrimination. The website that she has describes her as a plus-size Latina author, lecturer, and expert on body positivity with over a decade of experience. Look, on a serious front, I get, and we've talked about this even recently, Fred, that some people are very challenged when it comes to their weight loss, right?
Sure.
So I wouldn't even rule out that Ozempic and some of these other things would be beneficiary to,
Well, sure,
beneficial, if you will, to a lot of people. But let's be honest about something else. There are people that don't care what they put into their body. They don't eat healthy. This is one of the reasons I'm curious, and I know that if Sue was here today, she'd talk about this. RFK Jr. focusing on healthy eating and healthy habits. We don't ever discuss this. Like when we were going through COVID, and we still haven't gone through the autopsy of all the bad things that have happened. But, putting the right things in your body, keeping your, immunity level high is an important thing to do no matter what. And that means eating the right things and filling those nutritional gaps, all that stuff. But it's stunning how little proper nutrition has ever been discussed on a national level when it comes to this, or really overeating. So maybe a little focus on eating good food and not having as many additives and preservatives and all this other stuff. Maybe we need a little focus on that right now.
It seems like a good idea, but I don't know if the politics or government is the place, to do it. Maybe more in the medical setting.
Seems like a good idea, but also at the same time.
Which thing, Fred?
To have a fat positivity.
Oh, no, I don't think that's a good idea at all. I don't want that at all.
I think there's a fine line where you, like what you said, though, where you bring up, okay, being overweight or overly obese, like that's okay. But there are also health factors that come along with that.
Yeah. See, I don't think it is okay. And I think we need, I'm not saying we should body shame, but I think someone has to go up there and at least be honest about what people are doing to their bodies with fast food and other things that aren't good for you, and emphasize that, moderation is something that you can maybe participate in. So I think this is lunacy, what they're doing in San Francisco.
Well, I just don't see why
which typically is lunacy.
Yeah,
there.
why it should even have a place in city government.
It shouldn't, Fred. I think you answered your own question, because especially considering San Francisco. We'll have to ask Jeff Smith about this. Jeff has a very good friend who was just elected as the mayor of San Francisco. And he's a progressive, I'm sure, but it was a little pushback on some of the other nonsense that they had done in San Francisco. I'd love to see, how much that person is paid. I might have time for this on that front. This is good. I think it was our friend Dave Strom from hotair.com that posted about this earlier, Fred. But they're trying to push through in this Biden administration before, the end of their term, a bunch of different very, very high-paying jobs, civil service jobs that would be protected the way that they're trying to kind of shove this through. And you're talking, $180,000, $250,000, $300,000 salaries with many of these positions. And they're trying to make them, again, they're trying to ink this before the end of the term so it's irreversible. So there's some nonsense that's going on, certainly on Capitol Hill.
It's like preemptive pardons.
Well, it sort of is. Like, yeah, I think it is a lot
preemptive
like that.
Protections.
And we'll talk to Bob Onder about this, incoming Congressman Bob Onder, because I think he'll have some thoughts. He's going to talk about the CR and the controversy about that. I got to find that, though, because I'm looking for it right now. All the details, when you hear the salaries and some of the positions, you'd probably be shocked. I think a lot of people would be shocked. if they heard that. Alex Rich, great to see you.
Hey, great to see you guys.
I think you mentioned last week that Hanukkah starts when Christmas starts.
It does, so we'll be celebrating.
Happy Hanukkah. Now, do you have a Christmas tree in your house or not?
We don't.
Okay.
We don't.
But some Jewish people do,
I'm
though,
open
right?
to it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a, seems like a pain for us a little bit that, I don't have to have a tree. And I don't have the time to do it. But Annie's welcome to, I've told her. And, the grandparents' house, her parents' house, that's what that's for.
I have 3 trees, so you can come over and
we'll take
enjoy
our
the
picture
Christmas
in front of your
spirit.
tree
Right.
and call it ours.
Exactly. We'll have a great holiday, if you will. Fred, we're going to come back with Bob Onder in the next hour, and then John Seiler, who's a researcher at the National Associate of Scholars. John's done a great job at exposing the DEI nonsense. And there's a new report. He actually shared this with me yesterday about Kansas, KU, and its new center, which empowers activists to oppose anti-trans laws, which is fascinating. So we'll get to that in the next hour. Plus, an audio cut of the day and a whole lot more.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
55 southbound is slow Broadway to Bates Bayless to Lindbergh. You've got 270 southbound from Olive to Tesson Ferry, pretty heavy. Northbound from Manchester to 64, Page to 70. 70 westbound, slow go from River View to about Lucas Hunt, 170 to 67. Eastbound side from St. Charles Rock Road through the airport area. 170 southbound, heavy from Page to 64. Northbound from 70 to Airport Road and eastbound on 64 on the brakes past 340. And then 170 to Big Bend, westbound side from Kings Highway to Big Bend, 67 to 270 through Chesterfield. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Steel holiday savings are here. Make room under the tree for gifts at the top of their wish list. Power up the holidays with great deals on long-lasting tools. Find the perfect gift at your local Steel dealer or shop the Steel Holiday Gift Guide at steelusa.com.
Surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
A lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, this is my last hope. The next step is getting them in the right arch supports. Our goal is to have that long-term change for them, to see someone that is in pain, I change things for them. See how we can help you with a free fitting at the Good Feet store.
What's it going to take for you to realize the IRS is in full-blown attack mode, and if you have IRS issues, your timely response is critical. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We certainly know the IRS has ramped up efforts because we're seeing a lot more clients with threats of intents to seize property or levy rights to property. If you have IRS issues, call the Lance Drury Firm today. Today, don't wait. Those IRS notices have hard deadlines for exercising your appeal rights. If you miss the deadline, your rights to a legal appeal are gone. Let the Lance Drury Law Firm get between you and the IRS today, and we'll help you manage your case to achieve the best outcome. IRS problems are serious legal matters, so call Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Don't wait. Call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120, and schedule your free consultation with me, Lance Drury, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Tapping the brakes. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. A stopgap government spending bill is in jeopardy after strong opposition from the incoming administration.
President-elect Trump says he's totally opposed to the continuing resolution that would fund the government until mid-March, saying he wants a bill that would include a debt ceiling increase without what he called Democrat giveaways. He and Vice President-elect Vance in a joint statement on social media saying if the Democrats threaten to shut down the government unless we give them everything they want, then call their bluff. Without congressional action, the government's ability to spend money expires at Friday midnight. That could lead to a partial government shutdown.
Fox's Jack Callahan. As expected, the Federal Reserve has slashed its key interest rate again.
The Federal Open Market Committee decided to take another step in reducing the degree of policy restraint by lowering our policy interest rate by a 0.25 percentage point.
Chair Jerome Powell, who signaled the Fed expects to reduce rates more slowly next year, largely due to still hot inflation. 2 cuts are expected for next year if the economy grows steadily and if inflation continues to decline. The news from the Fed sending the markets into a tailspin. The Dow lost 1123, the Nasdaq off 716, the S&P minus 178. The Supreme Court agrees to hear an appeal from TikTok over a new law that requires a sale from its Chinese-based owner or face a ban.
Arguments are set for January 10th, just days ahead of a January 19th deadline for TikTok to be sold. A bipartisan vote in Congress set up the looming deadline amid concerns from the administration that TikTok poses a national security threat because of the amount of data collected. President-elect Trump supported the ban at the time, but during the campaign promised to save TikTok and hosted the company's CEO this week. TikTok says the law violates free speech rights.
Fox's Jared Halpern. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Ah.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx saved you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Our temperatures will slide back into the 30s for evening plans. Some clouds around it. Cold overnight, 26. On Thursday, sunny, windy, chilly, 47 degrees. Thursday night, clear, cold, still windy. Thursday night, 28. Friday, partly sunny and cold, and still windy on Friday, 34. We're going to feel that one with the gusty winds. 25 on Friday night, in the 30s and dry over the weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's Mark Reardon from my friends at Zero Res. Here's a question for you. You need to answer honestly. Is your home ready for the holidays? If you haven't had the carpets cleaned in a while, the answer is no, and this is the time to do something about it. And I have a great offer from my friends at Zero Res right now during the month of December. I've had Zero Res in my home so many times over the last decade. Unfortunately, a lot this year because of pet accidents. They can always help you in a pinch. But for some overall cleaning, getting your home ready for the holidays, maybe getting the gunk out of the air ducts, this is a great time to do it. Call Zero Res at 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com. And the offer, when you mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk for the month of December, 3 rooms starting at $129, $75 off your air duct cleaning package. They have great customer service, a ton of crews, and the legendary 30-day Gotta Love It guarantee. Book your appointment today. You spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res. Call 314-474-2020 or online, ZeroResSTL.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Onder Law, voted 2023's best law firm in St. Louis. We know how to handle the insurance companies, and we'll make sure you're compensated for physical, emotional, and financial injuries. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law today for a free review. 314 or 618-9-million. That's 314 or 618-9 all zeros.
This holiday season, be the MVP of your family and give the gift of Cardinals baseball. All-inclusive tickets are on sale now and feature a full buffet, complimentary bar, plus a great view of the game, and you can choose from the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Proficient Red Jacket Club, and more. So treat your family, your friends, your clients, or just yourself with all-inclusive Cardinals tickets. They're on sale now at cardinals.com/holiday.
Cardinals single game tickets for the 2025 season, including opening day, are on sale now, just in time for the holidays. Give the gift of family time, date nights, or hanging out with your friends under the stadium lights. The 2025 schedule is filled with great matchups, including weekends with the Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, and more. The promo schedule is packed with fan favorites, too. There's something for everyone in the 2025 season, so get your tickets now at cardinals.com/holiday.
The T.R. Hughes Homes for the Holidays display and inventory sale is going on now through the rest of the year. Hi, I'm Jason Hughes with T.R. Hughes Homes, and we have several quick move homes ready for immediate move-in. Save up to $50,000 on a brand new move-in ready home in one of our 4 beautiful communities. Come see why T.R. Hughes is St. Charles and now Warren County's premier home builder. Move-in ready, up to $50,000 in savings, just in time for the holidays. Visit trhughes.com for details. That's trhughes.com.
Hi, this is Hans von Spakowski, and I'm a senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation. When I was a kid, I and my friends would actually go to our neighbors' houses and sing Christmas carols, and I wish more people were still doing that today.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. Saying what you're thinking. Mark Reardon.
Sweet guitar sounds of Eric Clapton on this version of White Christmas.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know.
You got a good Christmas record. Feature a few more of these before Christmas. We have John Seiler coming up at the bottom of the hour, who has done some great work across the country, including at the University of Missouri, and exposing some of the DEI nonsense. But something a little different here at KU that he'll talk about. That's coming up at 5:25. I have an audio cut of the day as well. Just a reminder, we are loaded up here in the next couple of days. On Friday, the roundtable will include Jane Duker, Jeff Rainford, and David Barklage. We have George Gray coming in Monday for The Price is Wrong. He, of course, is on The Price is Right with Drew Carey every day, and he's a St. Louis guy. Our friend Tim Summer will talk music on Friday. My friend Johnny Holzman from the Well Hungarians is going to come in and play with Christmas music on Tuesday. I think that might be Monday. I'm getting confused. Fred's putting all this together because he's taking off next week, so we're trying to get everything settled before the end of the week. And then Sue is back on Monday. With us right now as we start the 5 o'clock hour, newly elected Congressman for the 3rd District in Missouri, Dr. Bob Onder is here. Bob, how are you?
I am doing great, Mark. Great to be back.
You've got to be super excited. I mean, good Lord, you're going to Congress. You just got out of this freshman orientation. I want to hear a little bit about that. But this has got to be a little bit humbling and surreal for you, even a guy like you, right?
Well, it really is. Yeah, I am deeply humbled that the voters of the 3rd Congressional District, represented chose me to represent them in Washington, D.C., and I really think we are coming in at an exciting time. I mean, with so-called unitary control of government, the House, the Senate, the presidency, we really have the opportunity to make some real changes for the benefit of the American people, really to take our country back after 4 disastrous years of Joe Biden and the Democrats in control.
So I want to get to some of the particulars of the real changes here in a couple of minutes, but I'm just curious about how this experience has gone so far, what the orientation was like. Did you meet any people that you were surprised by? I know that you were texting me, you were hanging out with somebody, I can't remember who it was, but you have people of all different parties in orientation, don't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we spend a lot of time, getting to know our colleagues by the nature of orientation, and you have caucus meetings. So, certainly I got to know all of my freshman class and, quite a few of the existing members. I got to know, I actually, prior to a Mizzou football game, right before orientation, I had never met Wesley Bell before. I think he and I probably won't vote the same way on many things, but he's a great upgrade from Cori Bush. So yeah, it was a great experience. I would say that was the best thing about orientation. I'll tell you, there was a lot of, bureaucrats lecturing to you, but there was also a lot of opportunity to get to know my future colleagues.
Yeah, and you probably know more about this than I do, but I can't remember who told me, and I didn't know this for the longest time, but it was earlier this year, when I discovered that all the members, for the most part, of the delegation in Missouri get together one time a month for breakfast or something like that. The only person that wouldn't do that is Cori Bush. So
I heard that. Yeah, I heard the same thing. And there are so many things that congressmen do that aren't particularly partisan. We should care about infrastructure funding for our state. We should care about our citizens who need passports or veterans benefits or who want to apply to our military academies. And someone accidentally calls my office when they should be calling Wesley Bell's or Emmanuel Cleaver. Our office has to work together on those sorts of things. So it's my understanding Ms. Bush was not easy to work with on those things.
Bob, do you have committee assignments at this point, right? Or are you still wondering about those?
Yeah, I do. We do have committee assignments. I'm very honored. I learned on Monday that I will be serving on the House Judiciary Committee and the Education and Workforce Committee. So, really on the Judiciary Committee, we have some real rock stars like Congressman Jordan, the chairman, like Chip Roy, Tom Massey, over on Education and Workforce, Chairman Wahlberg. I think will be excellent. My former colleague Eric Burleson is on that committee as well. So these are really important committees. As you know, the Judiciary Committee is tackling the deep state, tackling the unconstitutional encroachments on our liberties, like surveilling American citizens. And of course, very importantly, the Judiciary Committee has been at point on the issue of border security and public safety.
So let's get into the swamp at the moment, which is a possible continuing resolution. Here's the Speaker, Mike Johnson. This is what he said several months ago.
New spending, but we fought them off from that. We did add $231 million in new Secret Service funds, but everybody understands that that's critically important right now. We added strings attached to it. We said it was contingent upon the Secret Service participating fully in our oversight responsibilities and investigations right now.
Now, he goes on to say that, there's not going to be a continuing resolution, and apparently there is going to be. This is a little confusing. It's certainly confusing to me, so I'm not sure what's going on here. And what would you say? And you don't really have a say in this right now, do you?
No, I don't have a vote on this. It's funny on social media. A lot of people are urging me to vote no. But look, we really need to get back to the business of regular order and passing 12 individual budget bills as required by law. Now, there have been times when the Republican House has done that, and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have just thumbed their nose at that. But we need to get back to the process of passing in committee in the Appropriations Committee 12 individual budget bills, so that we're not saying, look, here's a $1,500 page bill today, vote on it tomorrow or the next day, where these things have been hashed out over weeks and months. I think this government by continuing resolution a week before Christmas, that has got to stop.
Yeah, because this thing has got, what, like 1,500 pages. There are provisions in here that are unrelated to, things that are important, like American music tourism. I'm the biggest music fan on the planet, but I'm not sure that the federal government should be handing out a bunch of money for this, especially considering the time. So there are things in this that are uncomfortable for a lot of conservatives who certainly voted for Republican Congress.
Yeah, and there is a role for disaster relief, but this $100 billion, how is it being spent? Where is it going to? What departments, what agencies are getting it? How have those departments and agencies used other funds like FEMA? How have they used funds that they've been appropriated in the past? Did they use any of those funds to resettle illegal aliens? All these things would be asked in the course of appropriations hearings over weeks. Instead, Congress is getting dumped this CR at the 11th hour. And also, look, many have pointed out that a true continuing resolution could just say very simply, we are continuing all funding levels at the same level as have been the case the last 6 months. But that's not what it says. It's 1,500 pages of detail. I haven't had a chance to go through and look at all the good, the bad, and the ugly. But this process has got to stop.
Yeah, well, to your point, that would be referred to as a clean CR. So I don't really understand why that's not being considered. You mentioned Chip Roy. He's a Republican from Texas. I like a lot of what Chip has to say when it comes to government efficiency, et cetera. And he comes out of a caucus meeting yesterday and says, Congress is fundamentally unserious about spending. As long as you have a blank check, you can't shrink government. If you can't shrink government, you can't live free. I completely agree with him. And Bob, I have confidence in guys like you that are going up there and trying to change some of this stuff because this has been going on for far too long.
Look, we Republicans have been celebrating Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy getting in there with Doge and helping to make recommendations to downsize government. And here, the week before Christmas, we have this CR, looking at us in the face. No, it's got to. Something's got to change. We are going straight toward the iceberg, and yet yet too many are on the Lido deck of the Titanic. Having a good time. No, this has got to change. So
Bob Onder's with us. He's going to Congress in the 3rd District. What's the next step for you? Enjoy the holidays and then get to Washington shortly after the first of the year?
Yes. Well, we will be sworn in on the 3rd of January, and we've already been notified which happens to fall on a Friday, and we have been notified that Speaker Johnson plans to keep us over that weekend to get to work on a reconciliation bill. Reconciliation is the process where spending bills can be written in such a way as to avoid the Senate filibuster. And what are we going to do on that reconciliation bill? Well, the top two things are, number one, border security, giving President Trump and the administration and ICE the resources they need to secure our border. And number two, to renew the Trump 2017 tax cuts. I think those are very important issues, and hopefully we'll get the ground running. In my committees, look, we've got to push back on the unconstitutional overreach of the federal government, and we need to get CRT and gender indoctrination out of our public schools. So that's important work we'll be doing on the Education Committee.
Awesome. I love it all. I think the priorities are right in line here with where certainly I believe and a good portion of the country believes we should be heading. So, again, congratulations.
I think it's what they elected us to do, Mark.
Absolutely. Yep. Congratulations on all this. I know it has to be exciting. We're going to talk many times, keep people in check in Washington in the swamp. But Dr. Onder, thank you so much, and Merry Christmas, Bob.
Thank you, Mark. Merry Christmas.
All right, take care. That's Bob Onder, who will do I think he's going to do a bang-up job in Congress. And, I think it's good that he has a relationship with Wesley Bell, because I've talked about this before. Lacey Clay, I didn't agree with Lacey on a lot of things, but he was willing to come on here, talk about the issues. He agreed with me on a lot of things, on tax policy, et cetera. So I don't know if Wesley's going to be open-minded to some of these things like Lacey was, because he was not a progressive. He was certainly a Democrat, but he wasn't into the nonsense. He mentioned, I got a couple of directions I can take this in, and let me get into the gender nonsense here quickly, because you had the president of the NCAA, Charlie Baker, who was up on Capitol Hill in a committee hearing, and Senator Hawley was asking him questions about some of the things related to biological women playing against biological men. And this is how that went.
Your rules explicitly permit biological males in women's sports. And I am asking you, why is that fair to the women? All of these women on these teams had to forfeit games and therefore a chance to compete in the championship because of your rules. And I want to know, why is that protective of women? If a man, a biological man, wants to use their locker room, they just have to accept it. Or else the women have to go somewhere else. They've got to go find an alternative. Why is that fair?
That's a good question. Why is that fair?
Why do your guidelines allow biological men into women's locker rooms without the women's consent, without the women's foreknowledge? Why do you do that?
That's not what our guidelines say.
They do say that. I've got them right here. Your guidelines say that transgender student athletes should be able to use the locker room, shower, and toilet facilities in accordance with their gender identity.
And
here they are, right here.
And then everybody else should have an opportunity to use other facilities if they wish to do so.
Okay, so the burden's on the women. Your guidelines say that biological men can go in and use the women's locker rooms if they want to. What the women want has nothing to do with it. They're not mentioned in here at all.
That is, well, Senator Hawley had him. You know, he nailed Charlie Baker on that. That is stunning. And it's something that the country does not want. An overwhelming majority. This is a 90-10 issue. Listen to Senator Kennedy take a good shot here.
Why don't you take a position on transgender biological males competing against females? You just told me it wasn't fair.
The federal standard on this is one that we would work with you on if you wish to work on it.
Why don't you do it on your own?
Because we're a national governing body and we follow federal law.
Why don't you go to Amazon and buy a spine online and take a stand?
Well, that probably should have been cut of the day, and maybe it still will be because that was awesome. Now, let's put this into perspective. Again, take a stand. How difficult is it? I'm still very frustrated, not that it would have made a difference because she got her ass kicked anyway, but nobody, even Brett Baer, put Kamala on the record on this issue of biological men playing against biological women. He brought up the trans issue. I mean, I'm not criticizing, over-criticizing Brett because he was in a situation where they showed up late and he's trying to get the questions in. So maybe it was something that was top of mind that kind of slid through. He did ask a question about that issue, but never on the issue of women's sports. Here's Riley Gaines. How many times does she have to say this? What happened to them is outrageous.
Being at that national championships in March of 2022, the Division I swimming and diving national championships, we had let me be very, very clear when I say this, we had a 6'4", 22-year-old man stripped down naked, wearing nothing, fully naked, fully intact, exposing himself inches away from where we as women were simultaneously fully undressed. I can't even put into words the feelings of humiliation, the feelings of embarrassment. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable. It was a totally violating experience to be in that locker room and then to be reprimanded as women. If we even dared to question this policy out loud, we were the ones who were sent to sensitivity training. We were the ones who were told we needed to learn how to be comfortable feeling, how to feel okay with this. And so what Charlie Baker and what the NCAA has done, I believe, for lack of a better word, is truly criminal.
It is criminal. It's outrageous behavior, and they just don't seem to get it, even when they're called before Congress. So that's really one of the highlights from what happened on Capitol Hill today. And then there's this, and this kind of ties in with the spending issues. And I want to highlight, we talk about the media. We had a great, by the way, if you missed my conversation with Scott Jennings in the 3 o'clock hour, please go back. Use the rewind function. It was one of the best. Scott's been a guest for a decade now, but we really talked about things that were related to the media. He's been invited to be a part of the editorial board at the LA Times, which I think is important, that a guy that has a conservative voice will be in the forefront of deciding some of these things at a major publication in this country. But unfortunately for most of the media, now look, even today I gave credit to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and their reporting on this St. Louis Public Schools situation. Thankfully, someone uncovered that. I don't know if it would have been uncovered. We do have some good investigative reporters. Lauren Traeger was on Monday. She's over at Channel 4. The dude on Channel 5 that kind of annoys me because he uses he, him, and all that stuff. But I think he's reported halfway decent stuff as well. But there's a guy out there with the Daily Wire, and his name is Luke Rosiak. And the Daily Wire is Well, look, Luke's the guy that broke a couple of these stories. He broke some of the things that happened in Loudoun County, Virginia, with the school board there. The Daily Wire also is the one that broke the story from a month ago that everyone tried to deny, including the New York Times, that said there was a FEMA worker, this deserves a lot of attention after the first of the year, that wasn't delivering the proper aid to people based on whether they had a Trump sign in the front of their house. So the Daily Wire's done some pretty good work here, exposing some of the nonsense in Washington. So here's Luke's report from, it might be from today, actually. Let me check on this. Yesterday. Okay. The Biden administration is in the process of hiring up to 1,200 DEI bureaucrats who could be embedded in the permanent civil service. We're going to talk to John Seiler about this in a couple of minutes. These are positions that have annual salaries of up to $310,000 a year. 33 of these positions were posted right after the election, the day after election. So on November 15th, for example, Health and Human Services advertised for a Deputy Assistant Secretary for Minority Health to promote health equity at a salary of up to $221,000. Man, it pays really well in this country to be a race grifter. We should all aspire to be race grifters because you can make a blank ton of money doing this. This candidate at HHS serves as the principal advisor to the secretary on minority health issues, just on minority. So the government is in the process of hiring all these people right now. They're trying to fill high-level jobs, some of them, multiple six-figure salaries. The FDIC, this is another report from Luke, the Federal Deposit Insurance Commission is preparing to extend job offers for two separate $310,000 positions, both of which can work from home 3 days a week and will be paid to advocate for DEI. That's a bunch of nonsense. So, you know who should be covering this story? The Washington Post, the LA Times, the New York Times, but they're not. The Daily Wire is doing this. These people, as Luke indicated, are paid far, far higher than the median American income for what are they doing? What work are they doing? The Secret Service, which, of course, bungled its job over the summer of preventing assassinations, has a DEI department that has, or wants an editor, actually. So some of this stuff, like they have a writer in, by the way, they didn't even spell editor right. This is amazing. This is on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security under Secret Service. It says writer/editor, EDITER. So the intern, who's probably getting paid money too, that put that up as a job posting can't even spell the word editor. And they want to fill a position of $310,000 salary, a director who develops equal employment opportunity, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, employee development, employee performance, and other personnel plans, processes, programs. So you have the Biden administration race grifting here, trying to fill these positions. Luke says you can sort and search all the DEI jobs for which the federal government is currently in the process of hiring at a link that he offered. In justice, drug enforcement, there is an equal opportunity specialist, program manager, $181,000. We should apply for these. These are good paying jobs, right? And you don't even have to be in the office. Department of Health and Human Services, Office of the Assistant for Secretary of Health, Deputy Assistant for Secretary of Health. I highlighted that one. In the Education Department, the Office for Civil Rights, Supervisory Equal Opportunity Specialist, $191,000 a year. This goes on and on and on and on and on. And I don't know the ability for the new administration or a guy like Bob Onder or members of Congress to go in and say, no, we're not going to do this. But keep in mind, when paperwork gets signed and these federal employees nab these jobs, sometimes it's hard to take it away from them. But this is really, really sunny. And by the way, I think we would all agree that January 20th cannot come soon enough.
May all your Christmas be white. Yes, may all your Christmas be white.
Follow Mark on Twitter at Mark Reardon KFTK and Instagram at Mark Talk. You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Southbound on 270, pretty slow in spots from Olive to Gravois. Northbound side Manchester to 64. Westbound 70. Slow Riverview to Lucas Hunt 170 to 270. 170 southbound. Page to 64 on the brakes. Northbound side heavy Natural Bridge to Airport Road. 64 eastbound through Chesterfield to Big Type. Then Mason to Big Bend. Westbound side from Kings Highway to Big Bend. 67 to 270 through Chesterfield and 364 to 70. This report is sponsored by New Perspective Senior Living of Weldon Spring. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, let's talk about New Perspective Senior Living. This is an amazing facility here in the St. Louis area. It's in Weldon Spring. Great location because you have easy access to 6440. So that gets you very conveniently into the Chesterfield Valley, or you can get to I-70 if you're heading to Columbia or anything like that. If you need a great new place, New Perspective Senior Living, independent living, assisted living. They do have a memory care facility as well. Great resources for families. It is a friendlier approach to senior living, and it is really amazing. 1- and 2-bedroom apartments that they're trying to fill right now with New Perspective Senior Living. They're not too far from Progress West Hospital, next to Persimmon Woods Golf Course, and it really is a stunningly beautiful facility. And you're going to see this if you take a tour. They'd love to have you over for lunch, and you can take a tour. They'd love to sign you up for a new apartment over there at New Perspective Senior Living. They have great meal plans, awesome social activities. You'll notice that a lot of the common areas are decorated with memorabilia from sports here in St. Louis. So it really has an awesome feel to it. Schedule your appointment today at NP Senior Living. New Perspective, N as in Nancy, P as in Paul, NPSeniorLiving.com. Check out New Perspective Senior Living today. Hey, it's Mark Reardon for New Perspective Senior Living in Weldon Spring. This brand new facility offers state-of-the-art independent or assisted living and memory care, and now has holiday specials on select apartments. Visit npseniorliving.com or call today to schedule a free lunch to experience senior living redefined for yourself. Well, I think we gave him a freebie there, but that's okay.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. A stunning diamond pendant, a pair of classic diamond stud earrings, something new and eye-catching from a world-class designer. Or maybe you're looking for that perfect gemstone piece or a fabulous timepiece. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. Come and let our experts help you pick out that headliner gift. Or for some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. You can even chat now with a virtual assistant for the ultimate convenience. Whether you connect online or in person, you're guaranteed to get the extraordinary value, ironclad warranties, and white glove service Diamonds Direct is known for. And to help make your purchase even more affordable, we've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
In Missouri, farming isn't just a profession, it's a purpose. You can feel it in our 27 million acres of farmland. You can see it in the nearly 41,000 Missourians who work in agriculture. You can hear it at our farmers markets. You can count it in the $93.7 billion it brings our state. And you can taste it at your family's dinner table. A lot of farmers in our state rely on Bayer's tools and inventions because Bayer has a purpose too, to help farmers thrive. Learn more at go.bayer.com/purpose. Paid for by Bayer.
Mortgage rates have finally dropped. That's right. Golden Oak has 5.375% fixed rates available right now. Our average cash-out customer saves over $1,000 a month. Call today and take advantage of our 5.375 fixed rate. Call 314-567-GOLD. That's 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak,
5.934 APR. FHA 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
5:32. This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
Get a 97.1 t-shirt. We've partnered with our friends at Whiskey Dickerson Small Batch Outfitters to bring you a line of high-quality conservative merchandise. Wear it loud. It's all at 971talk.com/merch.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, producer extraordinaire and Hall of Famer Fred Bottomer has put together a hell of a show for tomorrow already. This is a little tough around the holidays getting guests. We have Carl Cannon on from Real Clear tomorrow at 3:25. He's a great political reporter. Joe Warmington. I love Joe. He's up in Toronto, and he is a conservative newspaper guy in Toronto who calls out Justin Trudeau on his nonsense all the time. Joe's going to weigh in on some of the things related to our 51st state, Canada, which I love when Trump trolls them. John Morawski tomorrow. We'll talk about the increase in civics courses on college campuses, or maybe some wishful thinking there. So that's all coming up tomorrow. We have a Reardon Roundtable on Friday. Jane, Jeff Rainford, GOP consultant David Barklage, all on the panel on Friday. So that's going to be fun, and we'll take you right into Christmas with some fun stuff on Monday and Tuesday. And I get to close out my my whole holiday experience before I take a break with some Christmas music next Tuesday night. So we're looking forward to that as well. Hey, John Seiler is back with us. He is a researcher at the National Association of Scholars. We've had him on before exposing a lot of the DEI stuff. He put a story on my radar about KU that I found relatively interesting. John, how are you this evening? Welcome back.
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on again.
Before I get to the KU story, I just went over this on the air, and I'm guessing maybe you've seen the reporting by Luke Rosiak about all these positions that the Biden administration is trying to hire before the end of their term with DEI. Did you see all that?
I did, and that's of great interest to me because, as you know, this is closely connected to what we're seeing at universities, and I think that we have to understand it's a personnel game, and the Biden administration has made a shrewd move, and it'll be interesting to see how the Trump administration responds.
Yeah, because as I indicated, I don't know enough about this, but you do some hiring and you sign paperwork and stuff like that. It's going to be a little difficult maybe for the new administration to undo all that, and that's probably what they're counting on.
Yeah, that's correct. It's always difficult to fire people. It's always difficult to let people go from any position. That's all the more true of people in the federal government. And so, on one hand, this could mean that people have a lot of people aligned with the Biden agenda, especially surrounding issues of identity, have access to power and control. But it also, I think about this is also sort of, you can think of it in terms of patronage. This is a way of rewarding a lot of people who align with your political goals. Even if they don't end up having any power in the federal government, they'll still probably, a lot of them could very well stick around for a long time and take a salary funded by us.
But, John, aren't you just a little bummed out that you're not a race grifter making $300,000 a year? Because these things tend to pay pretty well.
If I've learned anything, it's that the cash continues to flow into this sort of enterprise. So yeah, maybe I should take my lesson and if I ever need a backup job, maybe that's the way to go.
Well, let's talk about the University of Kansas. I'm a University of Missouri guy, so we do not much care for the University of Kansas, although our jealousy has kind of gotten a little out of hand over the years. But you put something on my radar, as I indicated, that's very, very interesting. And, I had Jamie Reed on the show 2 nights ago. Jamie is our whistleblower from here in St. Louis with the WashU Children's Hospital Transgender Affirming Care Clinic, which is now no longer, thanks to Jamie and a lot of people who shed light on that particular topic, including me, I would say. But the folks in Kansas haven't gotten the message on some of this yet, have they, John?
No, and that's what I found when I did some investigative digging into a new program at the University of Kansas. So the other day for the City Journal, where I publish, I'm now a fellow at the Manhattan Institute, so I publish a lot. I'm doing a lot of investigative work for City Journal. I published a story about how the University of Kansas has created a center that aims to recruit, in their words, scholar activists, and actually other activists who are not even scholars, to explicitly fight what they call anti-trans laws and anti-trans legislation, both in Kansas and around the country. This center that is housed in the public university in Kansas is making its explicit goal to fight policies that were supported by a supermajority of the elected officials in Kansas. That is a remarkable way to pit a university against the people it is ostensibly supposed to serve.
So they write things like trans studies, like trans lives, is under severe threat on a national scale, right? So they're basically trying to tell people that this is an important position, important organization because of evil Republicans.
Yeah. So to give background on the story and the scoop, the Andrew Mellon Foundation, which is this very progressive, very wealthy charitable foundation, gave a grant to support a part of this initiative. That's, the university itself has skin in the game. This initiative is housed in the University of Kansas. And if you read through the document, they actually describe how after a while, some of the personnel who are hired through the program will be funded exclusively by the university. So this is a long-term financial commitment by KU. And what because this is a public university and they made a proposal for a grant, I was able to acquire that proposal through a public records request. And in that request, or in that proposal, they lay out exactly what this initiative at the flagship state university is supposed to do. And they start by saying trans lives are under attack. And why are they under attack? They specifically point to legislation in Kansas and around the country that is meant to push back on the truly concerning rise of gender ideology. They talk about things like the decision by the Kansas Attorney General to keep biological sex on state ID.
Yeah, they call that heart-wrenching, right? They call that a heart-wrenching decision by, the AG.
This is an incredibly reasonable thing to do. And it's in certain cases actually important to make sure that if you're identified and but not necessarily able to identify yourself, that people have this kind of information. But according to the document that I acquired, the entire purpose of creating this new initiative that's supposed to recruit new professors to the university and recruit scholar activists throughout the country is really to fight that kind of law. And they also just vaguely reference how the ACLU has collected has documented a number of instances around the country where legislatures have pushed back against what I would describe as gender ideology. And now they say this is happening in Kansas too, and that's a really bad thing. And that's why we need to create this initiative to garner this money, to get the support of outside funders and the university. And if you look at what Kansas has actually done, they've passed reasonable laws. They've passed laws relating to, keeping boys out of girls' sports, things like that. These are not the most controversial laws, even in the realm of pushing back against gender ideology. And what's really remarkable about this is that after the election of Donald Trump, I think a lot of people acknowledged two things. Even people on, the left of center, they acknowledged that, first of all, identity politics and particularly gender ideology has gone too far. And there was a public mandate, a public response to the national messaging about that issue in particular that was a part of the story of Trump getting elected. People have pointed to various ads that he's run and said, bringing up the trans issue was really effective.
Yeah,
and
it was
they've said
it was effective because it's what I call a 90-10 issue. 90%, if not more, people in this country are on our side of this, right? It's a small, and it's apparently people who write proposals for universities because, as you note in your work on this, they say in the proposal that this would have ripple effects. Adding another trans studies scholar would have ripple effects and could draw a larger pool of trans studies-focused graduate students. So they're really pushing this. They're tone deaf to where the rest of the world is, not only the country, but the rest of the world is on this. And I think it's good that it's being exposed. Now, exposing it, John, will it have any consequences for KU, do you think?
Well, that's a really important point you raised, because what we're seeing here is just a kind of microcosm of what is going on more broadly, which is that universities and outside funders like the federal government and foundations are creating a pipeline, a career pipeline for scholar activists, for people who want to turn universities into a vehicle for activism, which, by the way, makes people really object to what universities do in general. Now, will there be any effect? I really hope so. sometimes there's a reasonable argument to make that, well, maybe this program that is relatively controversial, it's protected by academic freedom. There are legitimate arguments to make about some programs that a lot of people would even say this is a 90-10 issue. Why is a university doing this? Well, we protect controversial ideas, or we allow controversial ideas in universities. But this is a different case. This is not just a professor saying something that a lot of people disagree with, or saying something that sounds radical. That's something that you should protect. But what you don't have to protect at all is a university saying that it wants to engage in an explicitly partisan political project. The document even, identifies with the progressive culture of its town. It talks positively about how the city of Lawrence is this blue dot in a sea of red, referring to how it's aligned with the Democratic Party, right. And they talk about that in a way that this is really a good thing. That's absolutely corrosive to any kind of healthy university system.
This is what they do. This is exactly what happens. And John, let me share this story. And I was very disappointed. I had a very awkward start to the show because yesterday, and it was like a Christmas gift was dropped into my lap as a radio guy. There was a listener who reached out that had this audio from my alma mater in the journalism school at the University of Missouri. And they shared it with me. And this was from the day after the election. And it is, it's pretty stunning, even for someone like me. Well, I was given permission to use it, I thought, and then there was a little panic that set in because they didn't want the student being affected. And I understand that, certainly as a parent. But the story that I shared without playing the audio, and I committed to not playing it at this point, maybe when the kid graduates, and I'm going to hang on to this. And I don't want to get anyone in trouble, and I'm not using names. But listen to this story, because the trans issue came up from this professor, and that's something that he was pushing in this class. But then this is a little bit separate, but I think you'll appreciate the the punchline here. So there are two girls. There's a girl in the class that starts telling the story about her and her friend has a dog, and the dog, I think they were out in the woods or doing something. The dog has bugs all over it. They're not sure. They had flea and tick on it, so they didn't know what was going on. They see all these ticks, so they run it to this vet clinic. The vet clinic, though, has Trump signs, campaign signs out in front. So the girl's horrified by the evilness that's inside the vet clinic, right? So they go in with the dog. They're terribly, upset by the fact that these are Trump folks, and they tell them what happened. And the reception and the people at the vet clinic are super, overwhelmingly nice. The girl admits this in her storytelling. And they basically say, oh, this is easy. The dog has, these seat ticks. Just use this spray. We don't even have to charge you for anything. So the takeaway from this girl wasn't, man, that's pretty nice of the vet clinic to do that. They're Trump supporters. I wouldn't have expected that. The takeaway was, this is what they do. This is what the evil Nazis do. They'll throw you a bone of generosity, even though they represent the most vile things on the planet. That was the actual takeaway from this girl. And you can't tell me that that's not been pounded in her little tiny brain from professors like the one that I wish to highlight at Mizzou and even high school indoctrinators. But that was quite stunning. So I guess my point is this doesn't surprise me with KU. I'm sure that you haven't been surprised along the way in exposing a lot of this, because this is the Marxism that exists on these college campuses.
And, it's really remarkable to see how it's not just that university professors happen to be very, very progressive. What we're seeing is universities making a commitment to recruit people on the basis of their progressivism.
That's right.
And on the basis of their commitment to activism. It doesn't happen all the time, but when you have in this proposal, they talk about how they're going to hire they already have another professor who specializes in transgender studies. And now the way that discipline is structured, it's not just anyone using social science to study the phenomenon of people with gender confusion. This is a tendentious discipline. This is a discipline that's devoted to advancing a particular idea. And what they're doing is creating a career path for people who want to spend their lives advancing these ideas. And they're doing it effectively on the public dime. And they're also doing it in the one institution that we have in this country that is supposed to be devoted to the pursuit of truth. There is an active effort by foundations, by federal funders, by universities and university systems that's still ongoing and might actually ramp up as a new administration comes in, that they oppose, an active effort to recruit more people who align with this vision for higher education.
It's
and that's
revolting.
Absolutely a trap.
And to bring it full circle, these are the people being, indoctrinated and trained, if you will, at these universities that are also applying for the $310,000 DEI job for the federal government. So the taxpayers get hit in a double dipping way. John, great work as always. Have a great Christmas. I appreciate coming on here.
Thanks so much.
Audio cut of the day is coming up.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
And 55 southbound still slow from Broadway to Bates, Union to Lindbergh, 270 southbound slow spots from Page to Tesson Ferry, northbound from Manchester to past 64, 70 westbound slow from 170 to 270, 170 southbound heavy Page to 64, northbound from Natural Bridge up to 270, and eastbound on 64 through Chesterfield a bit slow, and then spots from Mason to Big Bend, westbound Kings Highway to Big Bend, and 67 to 270. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, let me spread some rave reviews, firsthand experience with my friends at Michael's Flooring Outlet. Mike Reynolds and his team have knocked it out of the park on 2 different occasions, because a couple of months ago, my wife and I made the decision to take the carpeting out of my daughter's room and the bedroom across the way, because our bunny, and my emotional sport bunny, Oreo, has played a very important role in my life last night. I posted this on the Instagram and on Facebook because I was so stressed out by the Mizzou game that I needed my emotional sport bunny, and he really helped me through all that. And Mizzou didn't blow the game. They ended up winning. But he had also gotten to the carpet in my daughter's room, and it was kind of time. So we pulled it out. We put beautiful hard flooring in. We did it on a budget. They knocked it out of the park. We had a little product left over, so I said, hey, what about this area in the basement that is sort of a play area off the main, area of the basement? And we did that a couple weeks ago. I say we, it was the team from Michael's, and it looks beautiful. And that's the kind of experience you're going to get. Great customer service, awesome products. They're there for you with 3 great locations, open 6 days a week, closed on Sundays. Michael's Flooring Outlet, they're in Darden Prairie, in Old Town St. Peters, and in West County on Olive. The website, igotfloor.com.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Thursday, we've all used vending machines. How about to buy ammunition? We'll talk to the guy that came up with the idea at 7:35.
Weekdays from 5 to 9
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I can do a little country every now and again.
With the kids,
And this is Dan and Shay. They're kind of a poppy country. Are they brothers? They're brothers, aren't they, Ethan? Do you know? I don't know. Maybe they're not brothers, but I like them. I like the music. This is from a new Christmas record.
It's the happiest season.
Good harmonies. I don't have a lot of time left. I just have time for a quick audio cut of the day, so let's do that.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
I'm going to use a couple here. The first is from Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, talking about his party.
We stopped speaking to people. We started speaking at people. And when I first got elected in 2022, I told the party, it's public safety. People are tired of the revolving door where people are constantly committing violent crimes and back on our streets. We ignored it. I talked about the affordability issue. I talked about the migrants and asylum seeker issue. I mean, Iowa caucus showed that is one of the top issues. Not hearing the people and you engaging in dialogue while individuals are fearful of affordability, losing their home, the future of their children, and you having these intellectual conversations, and people are like saying, what the hell are you talking about? I'm hurting, and you asking, is Donald Trump Hitler or not?
Yeah, it ain't that hard, right? Eric Adams just called it down. It's not that difficult. But you got Brandon Johnson and the other idiots that we just talked about at universities. I'm telling you, these academics, they're the worst. You are the worst academics, the lefties. And if you're in academia and you're on the right, you're such a small part of the equation, you agree with me that they suck as well. And then I sort of blew it on this one because this is such a great bite, but I'm going to air it again. Senator Kennedy with the president of the NCAA, Charlie Baker.
Why don't you take a position on transgender biological males competing against females? You just told me it wasn't fair.
The federal standard on this is one that we would work with you on if you wish to work on it.
Why don't you do it on your own?
Because we're a national governing body and we follow federal law.
Why don't you go to Amazon and buy a spine online and take a stand?
I think that is great advice for Charlie Baker, the head of the NCAA, calling him out today on Capitol Hill. Have a great Wednesday evening. We're back at it tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
In the snow, there'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
55 southbound, still heavy from Union to Lindbergh. Your southbound 270 is slow spots from Page to Tesson Ferry. 70 westbound, slow from 170 to 270. 170 southbound, heavy from Page to 64. Northbound, heavy 64 to Forest Park Parkway. And 64 eastbound through Chesterfield, a little slow. And then your westbound side, Kings Highway to Big Bend and through Chesterfield as well. I'm Trent Erickson with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Mark Cox Morning Show has free tickets to see Toto. When we tell you to call, hold the line and be caller number 12. You'll win tickets to see Toto August 5th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. It's all on the Mark Cox Morning Show this week.
The colder weather is here, and my friends at Hanson's Tree Service want to offer you a 10% winter discount for all tree care scheduled between January and March of next year. Mark Cox here. Call now. Get your spot secured. Also, when it comes to winter plant health care, it's a great time to get one of their arborists over. Have them to prescribe the best treatment options for your trees during the fall and winter season. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. Schedule your appointment today at hansonstree.com.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Ryan Wiggins here from Wiggins America and the Annie Fry Show. One of the best things that's under-celebrated about the holiday season is the time off resetting for the coming year. And boy, do we have a big one ahead. Looking forward to it. Merry Christmas.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Well, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries slamming Republicans after President-elect Trump called on them to renegotiate the stopgap government funding bill.
House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt everyday Americans all across this country.
The bill included funding for people impacted by the recent hurricanes and money to rebuild the Key Bridge in Baltimore that was struck by a cargo ship earlier this year. Vice President-elect Vance.
Well, what the president believes is we support a clean CR so long as it contains a debt limit increase. That's the position of the president. That's what we're going to try to push for.
In a statement, President-elect Trump and Vance said Republicans want to support our farmers, pay for disaster relief, and set our country up for success in 2025. They say the only way to do that is with a temporary funding bill without what he called Democrat giveaways, combined with an increase in the debt ceiling. The number of people detained by Colorado officials grows after an armed home invasion at an apartment complex in Aurora.
Aurora police say 19 people are in custody after officials were able to execute a new warrant at the Edge at Lowry Apartments. Police responding to the property after 13 to 15 armed individuals entered an apartment, holding a man and a woman against their will, beating them and stabbing the male victim. Chief of Police Todd Chamberlain revealing the victims are believed to be Venezuelan immigrants who suffered non-life-threatening injuries. 14 suspects were initially detained. Police working with federal officials, including ICE, to identify all involved. Officials believe the violence is gang-related, stressing the problematic complex has a history of gang-related crime, poor living conditions, and bad management.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to goodrx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks plunging and erasing earlier gains, and bond yields spiked after the Fed cut interest rates for a third time this year. Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
Federal Open Market Committee decided to take another step in reducing the degree of policy restraint by lowering our policy interest rate by a quarter percentage point.
To a range of 4.25% to 4.5%. But the central bank signaled fewer rate cuts next year, with Fed officials penciling in 2 quarter-point rate cuts for 2025, down from the 4 cuts they expected when they last made projections in September. And that news disappointed investors. The Dow falling 1,123 points for its 10th straight session of losses, its longest losing streak in 50 years. The Nasdaq down 716, S&P 500 lower by 179. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Trump's victory doesn't mean our financial worries are over. Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. Washington's spending addiction still threatens your savings. That's why I recommend gold IRAs from my friends at Birch Gold Group. These accounts protect your retirement from government mismanagement. For a free info kit on gold IRAs, text the word SHELTER to 989898. Don't wait. Text SHELTER to the number 989898 now for your free kit from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Our temperatures will slide back into the 30s for evening plans. Some clouds around it. Cold overnight, 26. On Thursday, sunny, windy, chilly, 47 degrees. Thursday night, clear, cold, still windy. Thursday night, 28. Friday, partly sunny and cold, and still windy on Friday, 34. We're going to feel that one with the gusty winds. 25 on Friday night, in the 30s and dry over the weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This holiday season, save $30 on the GTA 26 handheld garden pruner. Now just $149.99. Visit your local Steel dealer today or shop online at steelusa.com. Offer valid for a limited time. Only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Beat the holiday rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResSTL.com.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
From everywhere USA, it's Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon.
Third and final hour of the day, kicking off in high style. Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon, getting the band back together with Elizabeth Pipko, RNC spokeswoman. She's going to join us, talk about The Heat is On. Do you remember that song? The Heat is On. That whole thing. The Heat is on Mike Johnson, okay, who is trying to ram through an omnibus spending bill. And the American people have spoken, and they said,
I'm sick and tired of all this bullshit.
Elon Musk, to his credit, leading this charge on Twitter. This is where Elon owning Twitter is very helpful, in that he has mobilized a digital army to try to take out this bill. Tweeting just moments ago, any member of the House or Senate who votes for this garbage bill should get thrown out of office when their term is up in 2 years.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
We'll explain why he's saying that. We will explain what the consequences are for you if this thing passes during this hour. And Pipko is going to give us the inside baseball on what's happening in Trump world down in Mar-a-Lago. 888-788-9910. You know the rules, same every day. You could be a Republican, you could be a Democrat. You're all welcome. Agree, disagree, doesn't matter. Just don't be a... There it is, as we soldier on. So that Elon Musk stuff is fascinating. One of my biggest concerns right now is now that he bought Twitter and he never stops tweeting, he's encouraged everybody on Earth to just adopt his mindset and do so in the name of getting likes and agreement. But some of this agreement, some of these likes are earned because they are being tweeted in the name of progress. It would be progress to stop Congress from giving themselves a 40% raise and telling us this is a continuing resolution. You see, Mike Johnson is trying to pass this as, well, it's just a continuing resolution. So we're funding the way we're funding, and we're just going to continue that till March, at which point Trump takes over. Okay, but this bill does not represent a continuation of current spending. It represents a 40% pay raise for the people who vote for it.
That's just how white folks will do you.
Let me give you the Johnson clip one more time, because I said this, I tweeted this. If Trump wants to drain the swamp, if Mike Johnson thinks this is a good idea and this was the route to go, he should not be the speaker when they reconvene. No chance. Here is Johnson trying to tell you why this is a good thing, despite all of the people bashing it. Clip 3.
When we start the new Congress in January, when Republicans are in control and DOJ is working on all 6 cylinders, we're going to be able to scale back the size and scope of government. But before we get to that point, remember, right now, we only control 1/2 of 1/3 of the federal government. Remember, Democrats are still in charge of the Senate and the White House. So what we've done is the conservative play call here, my friends that you just interviewed there, or that those clips were played, were part of this decision. We decided, even though we don't normally like short-term stopgap funding measures, it made sense here. Instead of doing, Chuck Schumer and Biden spending for 2025, we pushed this decision into March. It'll be March 14th. So the feature there is that we'll have Republican-controlled Congress and Trump back in the White House, and we get to decide spending for 2025. So that was a good thing.
Oh, no, it was a good thing, you see, because we're coming back into town